Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Robeanne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide News at this hour, Keisha Prince Kamika was not told why she would not be offered a new contract with the Integrity Commission.
KSAMC owes the NWC over $150 million in unpaid water bills.
Mayor of Montego Bay Richard Vernon says the removal of political campaign materials across the city will continue until the next general election is declared.
The council has moved to prohibit the erection of political signs across the municipality until the next general election is officially announced.
4 JCF members charged under the anti-gang legislation granted bail.
Former PNP MP Errol Jiggs Ennis has died.
In news from the rest of the world, Guyanese government to cover cost of CSEC fees for students.
6 dead after helicopter crashes into the Hudson River just off Manhattan.
In headline sports, NBA champion Norman Powell set to represent Jamaica at the FIBA World Cup 2027 America's pre-qualifiers from August 8 to 10.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation, Mayor Richard Vernon, says the decision to have political signs removed in the municipality is in keeping with the law.
This decision is in keeping with the Town and Country Planning, Control of Advertisements Regulation 1978.
Mayor Vernon will join us.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, do you support members of the security forces wearing face coverings during interactions with the public? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide90FM.
At 7, the trade war between the US and China is deepening, with the White House confirming that its tariff rate against Beijing is 145%. You'll hear more.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile Nationwide 90FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, April 10, 2025.
This hour is brought to you by the new KFC Saucy Wings. Hot and spicy wings tossed in mango habanero or buffalo sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger-licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Nationwide News understands that the former Director of Corruption Prosecution at the Integrity Commission, Keisha Prince Kamika, was not told why she would not be offered a new contract with the entity. Prince Kamika's contract expired at the end of March. Nationwide News also understands that the lead investigator in the matter involving the uncertified statutory declarations of Prime Minister Andrew Holness has also left the commission, or sources say she resigned. We have more in this report from Siobhan Campbell.
It's a time of change at the Integrity Commission. The creature of Parliament established to pronounce on whether local public officials are operating at the highest ethical standards. But our sources say events over the past several months raises concerns about whether the Commission is doing right by the people working on its behalf. We understand that Keisha Prince Kamika was informed directly by a senior official at the Integrity Commission during a meeting on March 13 that her contract would not be renewed. The Governor General was reportedly written to quite swiftly, informing him that Prince Kamika would not be recommended for a second term in the post. It's understood that even after this communication to Sir Patrick Allen, Prince Kamika was not told why the Commission would not even consider her for a second stint in the role. Under the Integrity Commission Act, divisional directors at the Commission are appointed by the Governor General, who acts on the recommendation of the Commission. The newspapers ran an item advertising Prince Kamika's job while she was effectively still holding down the post at the Integrity Commission. The advertisement, which also listed 4 other posts, set a March 28, 2025 deadline for applications. Sources at the Commission tell our news center that the treatment of Prince Kamika was disappointing, to say the least. In response to our direct question, those sources speculated that she may have paid the price for her decision to not bring charges against the Prime Minister in the 2 matters at the Commission. The most high profile of those matters concerns Andrew Holness's statutory declarations. Prince Kamika reportedly proceeded on vacation leave over the remainder of her time in office. Her role is now being performed by Ranif Lawrence. Efforts by our news center to contact her were unsuccessful. PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell, who was a guest at Lawrence's wedding, has previously written on social media about his 20-year-long friendship with the prosecutor. Meanwhile, our sources say Stephanie Fiddler Blake, the woman who played a key role in the probe into the Prime Minister's statutory declarations, resigned abruptly from the Commission. Our sources would only say she left because of a fundamental difference of opinions with key colleagues about aspects of her work. Her role, Manager of Declarations and Financial Investigations at the Commission, was advertised alongside Prince Kamika's old post. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, is drowning in debt to the National Water Commission, NWC. Nationwide News has obtained documents suggesting the municipal corporation owes the NWC over $151 million in unpaid water bills. A significant chunk of this mounting debt stems from the operations of the downtown market. This revelation comes amid rising tensions between the PNP-led municipal corporation and the NWC over water quality concerns. Mahiri Stewart reports.
The information obtained by Nationwide News represents the accounts of the various arms of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation up to March this year. At that time, the KSAMC has a balance owing to the National Water Commission, NWC, of $151 million. According to the information obtained, 0 payments have been made towards this debt across the KSAMC's accounts. The largest portion of the outstanding is charged to the various meters of the KSAMC market on Pitron Street in Kingston. The sum comes up to nearly $140 million. This is followed by the Papine market at $3.5 million. The Crossroads market closes out the top 3 with $2.4 million. The KSAMC headquarters on Church Street also owes the NWC $1.3 million. It's uncertain over what period the debt has accumulated. Calls to the Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, went to voicemail. Similarly, calls to the KSAMC's CEO, Robert Hill, were also unsuccessful. When contacted, Deputy Mayor Delroy Williams suggested he was not best placed to answer questions regarding the state of the corporation's accounts. He directed us to Mayor Swaby and CEO Hill. On Tuesday, the KSAMC passed a resolution demanding answers regarding what the PNP caucus deemed concerns over contamination of the water supply. It's a concern rejected by both the NWC and the Ministry of Health. Deputy Mayor Williams also accused the PNP caucus of using the concern as a smokescreen to distract from what he sees as allegations of financial irregularities at the corporation. He also says Mayor Swaby has failed to submit a financial report for the last 2 quarters. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Richard Vernon, says the removal of political campaign materials across the city will continue until the next general election is formally declared. He was speaking on Thursday at the monthly meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation. Dana Davey reports.
On Tuesday, the opposition PNP called on the Mayor of Montego Bay to cease and desist from removing the party's advertising boards in the city. PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell said the removal of the campaign material was against the law.
Under the town and country planning regulations, political advertisement related to elections are exempt from needing municipal approval. This is in the law. So why is the mayor acting outside of it? We're calling on the mayor to cease his unlawful actions, return the campaign materials, and issue a public apology. We have also referred the matter to the Electoral Commission Political Ombudsman Department for urgent attention.
Dr. Campbell said it was established practice, supported by law, that during the lead up to an election, political parties are allowed to erect posters and signs advertising their candidates. However, Mayor Richard Vernon says the campaign signs will continue to be removed until the next election date is announced.
In an effort to maintain the aesthetic appeal of our city and to preserve the amenity and safety of our municipality, the council has moved to prohibit the erection of political signs across the municipality until the next general election is officially announced. This decision is in keeping with the Town and Country Planning Control of Advertisements Regulation 1978. This is my second major call within a year. In fact, the Gleaner story posted on Saturday, March 30, 2024, titled "Mobe Mayor Urges Swift Removal of Election Paraphernalia," is in keeping with the council's position now. We look forward to the cooperation of both political parties.
But the mayor's words did not sit well with PNP councillor for the Mount Salem division, Kerry Thomas. According to Mr. Thomas, Mayor Vernon is wrong. That comment triggered an uproar at the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I noticed you mentioned in your presentation regarding political signs. I just want to say to you, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Chairman, on a point of order.
Mr. Chairman,
On a point of order.
There's a point of order, so sit, Councillor Thomas.
The point of order is that the issue is one that a full council meeting determined yesterday. And what you did today was merely to make your announcement on it. Matter should not be entertained today. Unless you have something else to say, I'm going to move for an adjournment.
No. What kind of business are coming? No.
On a point of
Mr. Chairman.
You can't judge yourselves. Please sit. Please sit. Councillors. Councillors, please sit. Please sit. Please sit. There's a point of order.
Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
4 members of the JCF who were charged under the anti-gang legislation this week have each been offered bail in the sum of $2 million with 1 to 4 sureties. Sergeant James Dawes, Corporal Tamala Anderson, and Constables Shane Givens and Lakari Barrett made their first appearance in the Supreme Court on Thursday. This follows a 3-year investigation led by the Inspectorate and Professional Standards Oversight Bureau, IPROB. The charges stem from an incident in September 2023 when the officers reportedly arrested a woman they claimed was involved in drug trafficking. She was held in custody for 4 days without being charged. IPROB became aware of the situation and launched an investigation. The woman was eventually released, but further allegations are that the woman's mother was later contacted and a sum of money was reportedly requested to prevent charges from being laid. Following the probe, a file was submitted to the Director of Public Prosecutions, who ruled that the 4 officers be charged with being part of a criminal organization. All 4 of the accused are being represented by defense attorney Christopher Townsend. They are scheduled to return to court on May 21, 2025.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
Celebrate 26 years with IQ Optical. Enjoy 26% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses this month only. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical in New Kingston, Manor Park, or Drexel. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is
5:14.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 in Montego Bay.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, meet a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
Continuing the news, Commanding Officer of the Hanover Police Division Superintendent Andrew Nish says the 4 murders recorded in the parish since the start of the year are gang-related. As at April 5, Hanover recorded 4 murders compared to 10 for the corresponding period last year. This represents a 60% decline. Superintendent Nish says 3 of the 4 homicides occurred in the Green Island policing area.
The most recent incident took place in the Orange Bay area on March 27, 2025. In response to this surge in violent crimes, we have intensified our operational activities under Operation Secure Future, a strategic initiative targeting active violent gangs and their members within the space. Intelligence suggests that the recent act of violence are linked to the Schemas gang. As a result, a joint police-military team conducted an operation in the Orange Bay community.
Superintendent Nish says Operation Secure Future yielded significant results in the Orange Bay community on Wednesday.
The seizure of a Bersa Thunder 9mm pistol loaded with 2 9mm rounds, a Diamondback 5.56 rifle loaded with 17 5.56 rounds, several overseas debit cards, and 70 lead sheets with information of persons living overseas. The Hanover Division remained resolute in our commitment in dismantling violent criminal networks and ensuring the safety and security of our communities. We will not relent in our efforts to pursue and bring to justice those who threaten public safety and public order.
Superintendent Andrew Nish, Commanding Officer of the Hanover Police Division.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says $50 million will be invested this year to further operations at Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited. He made the announcement at the Outsource Jamaica 2025 conference in Montego Bay, St. James earlier on Thursday. Prime Minister Holness says over $400 million have already been invested to modernize the terminal.
Since 2016, under a 30-year concession agreement with the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, and over $400 million of investment with advanced geopositioning technology, new cranes, and upgraded infrastructure, we have increased cargo volumes in our ports by over 50%. We have increased employment by over 53%. And in 2025, an additional $50 million will be invested to further expand the equipment and capacity of the port.
He also highlighted that the long-spoken of Caymanas Special Economic Zone will finally become a reality under his administration. According to Prime Minister Holness, groundbreaking for the 700-acre site is scheduled for the first quarter of the upcoming fiscal year.
I'm pleased to say that we have now completed the engineering designs for the Special Economic Zone. The tender process for the first phase of the land preparation is finalized, and all required approvals are in place. Groundbreaking is scheduled for the first quarter of this fiscal year. So I would say that in another 2 months, we should be able to break ground on the site. The site is being prepared to mitigate against climate change risks such as flooding, and will be equipped with modern infrastructure, utilities. We're also going to create a direct link from the site to the port itself.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. He says it aims to position Jamaica as a regional hub for warehousing, distribution, e-commerce fulfillment, contract manufacturing, and supply chain analytics.
Former PNP Member of Parliament Errol Jiggs Ennis has died. Mr. Ennis, who served as MP for Western Portland from 1989 to 2007, passed away at his home in Hope Bay, Portland, late Thursday morning. He was 83. He had been ailing for several years and had lost his sight. Mr. Ennis served as former state minister in the Ministry of Finance and as a junior minister in the Ministry of Agriculture during the P.J. Patterson administration. Beyond his political career, Mr. Ennis was a vice president of the Jamaica Development Bank and served in the Royal Air Force. He was a trained economist, a farmer, and an athlete representing his alma mater Kingston College in football and athletics. Reacting to news of his passing, the Union of Technical, Administrative and Supervisory Personnel said Mr. Ennis leaves a legacy of dedicated public service, leadership, and contribution to national development. The union calls him a true servant leader who will be remembered as a patriot deeply committed to the progress of Jamaica and the upliftment of its people. Mr. Ennis is survived by his wife, Sandra, and 5 adult children.
Meanwhile, the PNP has expressed heartfelt condolences to Mr. Ennis's loved ones, friends, and colleagues. In its tribute, the PNP says his contributions to Jamaica's development will be remembered for years to come. Current MP for West Portland, Darrell Vaz, has also extended condolences to the family of Errol Ennis. Writing on X, Mr. Vaz described Ennis as a person with whom he shared a strong friendship despite their opposing views on politics.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
The Guyanese government will be covering the cost of CSEC fees for students starting this year. Guyana's President Dr. Irfan Ali made the announcement during a public address at the West Demerara Secondary School on Wednesday. The initiative will cover the cost of up to 8 subjects. President Ali says this will impact students from both private and public schools. He emphasized that the move is part of his administration's ongoing efforts to strengthen and develop the country's education sector. It's unclear if persons who have already paid their exam fees would be refunded. The cost for up to 8 CXC subjects can amount to over 46,000 East Caribbean dollars. However, the cost is often subsidized based on the parent's income. With the new measure, families across the board will benefit from significant financial relief.
At least 6 people are confirmed dead after a helicopter crashed Thursday into the Hudson River just off Manhattan. The Federal Aviation Authority, FAA, says it cannot confirm yet how many people in total were on board the flight. However, it's believed that all passengers have died. It's reported that at least 3 children and 3 adults were on the aircraft. The fire department said it received a report of a helicopter in the Hudson River sometime after 3 this afternoon. Videos posted on social media showed the helicopter mostly submerged and upside down in the water. Multiple rescue boats were seen circling the aircraft. The FAA says it will conduct an investigation into the crash led by the National Transportation Safety Board.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, Keisha Prince Kamika was not told why she would not be offered a new contract with the Integrity Commission.
KSAMC owes the NWC over $151 million in unpaid bills.
Mayor Richard Vernon says the removal of political campaign materials across Montego Bay will continue until the next general election is declared.
4 JCF members charged under the anti-gang legislation granted bail.
I'm Robianne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is the
For more
TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you?
One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently? But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor to go check on her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deep fake?
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right, now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Good afternoon with your sports reporter, I'm Alric Swiby. We bowl things off with some cricket as Jamaica Scorpions reached 206 for 5 in their second innings at Stumps on day 2 of their 7th round regional 4-day game against the combined campuses and colleges at the Sir Frank Worrell Ground in Trinidad. Javel Glenn made 86, Captain John Campbell 33 and Brad Bonds 30. The CCC were bowled out for 327 in their first innings. Shakiri Paris made 112, which included 11 fours and 2 sixes, while Johan Jeremiah made 69 and Larry Edwards 44. Abhijaman Singh took 5 wickets with Pete Salmon and Barnes taking 2 each. Scores in the match so far: Jamaica Scorpions 133 and 206 for 5, combined campuses and colleges 327. At Queen's Park Oval in Port of Spain, champions Ghana Harpy Eagles reached 269 for 5 at Stumps against Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. Raymond Perez made 82 and Kevlon Anderson 51. The Red Force were bowled out for a first innings 240. Jad Goulin made 48, Cephas Cooper 50 and Kari Pierre 38. Neal Smith picked up 4 for 49 while Kimo Paul took 3 wickets and Ronaldo Ali Mohammed 2. Over at the Coolidge Cricket Ground, the West Indies Academy beat Windward Islands Volcanoes by 10 wickets. Set 35 to win, the Academy men reached the target inside 4 overs. Akeem August was unbeaten on 33 and Justin Jagasar 2 not out. Earlier, the Volcanoes were bowled out for 181 in their second innings. Kimani Melios made 40 and Captain Alec Athanes 41. Final scores: Windward Islands Volcanoes 106 and 181. West Indies Academy 253 and 35 without loss. Not football, as at sports time, former champions Mount Pleasant are leading Racing United 2-1 in their rescheduled Ray and Never Jamaica Premier League match at Draxall Complex. An own goal in the 6th minute gave Mount Pleasant the lead. However, forward Ronaldo Biggs scored in the 27th minute to restore parity. Forward Raheem Edwards then scored in the 43rd minute to restore Mount Pleasant 1-goal advantage. 8th place Racing need only a draw to move into 6th place with 49 points, the same as Waterhouse. However, the St. Catherine-based side would have a superior goal difference. Meanwhile, a win for Mount Pleasant would restore their 9 points lead. Now to basketball, as Los Angeles Clippers shooting guard Norman Powell will be wearing the black, gold and green when Jamaica competes in the FIBA World Cup 2027 Americas pre-qualifiers from August 8 to 10. Powell, who won an NBA title with the Toronto Raptors, made the announcement on social media.
I want to say how super excited I am to be joining Team Jamaica. I've been working with Coach Turner for a long time and with this process and getting it done, and now it's a reality. So I'm super excited to be joining the team. I know there's a lot of work ahead, but you got a player that knows the grind, that understands the grind, and is ready to put that work in. So we need all of your help to make that a reality.
Norman Powell. Jamaica will face Costa Rica, Chile, Ecuador, Mexico, Paraguay, and the U.S. Virgin Islands in the pre-qualifier tournament. President of the Jamaica Basketball Association, Paulton Gordon, says Powell will anchor the team.
We are elated that he's so passionate about it and wants to see us through the journey of World Cup qualifying and also possibility of Olympics 2028. We're trying to put the pieces around him now so that we have a solid team and a solid management group going forward. We're reaching out to persons now to see who's eligible, who is available, because different players have different cycles based on which team they are going to, if they're preparing for new contracts, etc., etc. So we are going through that process now to see who's available for the August 8 to 10 pre-qualifiers.
Gordon says several other players are interested in representing Jamaica.
We have a slate of NBA players who are interested. The problem is we are kind of pushing back at some of the FIBA rules, which gives us less opportunities and possibilities. But there are people like the Thompson twins who are interested, the Champagne twins who are interested. Nick Richards was born in Jamaica, so there's no eligibility issues there. Someone like, they say, Josh Minot from Timberwolves. He played for under 17 team. So we're trying to clear that situation with FIBA as we speak. So trying to put the slate together, trying to look at who is available, who would like to fit in this part of the puzzle for the qualifiers in August, because after you clear that hurdle in August, there'll be windows of qualification. Like the cycle will include windows in November, then next February, and then I think the last window for qualification will be the following November. That's November 2026.
Paulton Gordon. I'm Alex Raby, and that's your sports.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Since 2016, 253,000 more Jamaicans are working. That's 28,000 new jobs each year. We are building Jamaica. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:31.
JUTC finally arrived in St. Mary. Well done, JUTC.
The seats are very comfortable and it has Wi-Fi and AC.
The ride was nice, the AC was nice. I love the ride, I will always look out for you.
Thank you for traveling with me, and I will definitely look out for you the next time. Welcome to JTC on the 52B from Alpha Tree to Toms River.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
What makes a Burrito Bond so attractive?
We have a history of strong financial performance and growth, demonstrating resilience.
Our leverage remains low relative to our peers.
The bond is available in both Jamaican and US dollars, ranging from tenures between 2 to 10 years at attractive interest rates. Plus, it's expected to be listed, which will enhance liquidity for all investors.
Burrito Bonds are Burrito strong. Download our prospectus, call a Burrito advisor, and invest today.
Experience togetherness this Easter, embarking on a one-of-a-kind adults-only retreat in a world where swaying palms meet endless sunsets. All-inclusive indulgence awaits here at Hideaway at Royalton Blue Waters. Tap into an all-in luxury vacation experience when you book between April 1 to 30. Contact us. Dial 876-632-7401. That's 876-632-7401. Speak to your local sales agent today.
Jamaica Post is committed to being your preferred logistics partner. Enjoy the convenience of 3 to 5 days for international shipments at competitive rates and next business day delivery for local packages. Take advantage of our fast, reliable and ever-evolving services. Zip Mail, Click and Ship, Fast Track, EMS, Parcel Service, Registered Mail, Corporate Mail Service and Private Letterbox. Access customer service support and track packages online. Visit our post offices island-wide and premium service centers at select locations. For more information, go to jamaicapost.gov.jm. Conditions apply.
Cliff Says is by far the most popular mid-morning radio segment in Jamaica. Cliff Hughes shares his views on the hot-button topics of the day, editorializing on various issues in the news, breaking news stories, and expounding on stories. Cliff Says sets the tone of the show for the rest of the day. Join the award-winning journalist Cliff Hughes weekdays during Cliff Hughes Online at 10 to 10:30 a.m. Join the revolution in media.
Cliff Says is brought to you by Educom Credit Union, providing value through service, and Hyundai, modern premium affordable vehicles.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink. 24
24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Good afternoon, listeners and viewers. It's 5:34. Today's April 10, a Thursday. Welcome to the cover story. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, and today the focus is on the St. James Municipal Corporation, and that's because the mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, says the decision to have political signs removed in the municipality is in keeping with the Town and Country Planning Control and Advertisements Regulations of 1978. He made the disclosure while addressing the regular monthly meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation. Earlier this week, the opposition PNP called on Mayor Vernon to cease and desist from removing the party's advertising boards in the city.
PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell claims the removal of the campaign material is unlawful.
The JLP controls St. James Municipal Corporation, led by Mayor Richard Vernon, has been removing and destroying PNP campaign materials, despite the clear provisions of the law. Under the Town and Country Planning Regulations, political advertisement related to elections are exempt from needing municipal approval. This is in the law, so why is the mayor acting outside of it?
Dr. Campbell says Mayor Vernon and the municipal corporation have acted to intimidate and frustrate PNP candidates. He called on the mayor to replace the advertising boards. Dr. Campbell says the matter has also been referred to the Electoral Commission of Jamaica.
Let me remind him and the public, it has long been established practice, supported by law, that in the lead up to elections, political parties are allowed to erect posters and signs for their candidates. This has always happened without incident, even during the 2024 local government elections. So I ask, what has changed? We're calling on the mayor to cease his unlawful actions, return the campaign materials, and issue a public apology. We have also referred the matter to the Electoral Commission Political Ombudsman Department for urgent attention.
And that's Dr. Dayton Campbell, the General Secretary of the People's National Party. Well, Mayor Vernon joins us now. Good afternoon, Mayor Vernon.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners. How are you?
Thank you, as always.
Good afternoon, Mayor. So
you have cited, Mayor, the Town and Country Planning Control of Advertisements Regulation, that of 1978. Can you explain specifically what part of the regulation the signs were in violation of?
So the PCP, the part dealing with the regulation of advertisements, Section 13 speaks to pending election. There is no lead-up. There is no campaign period. None of those terminologies were used. It says pending election. Our understanding of pending election is when an election has been announced. And that is how we have been guided to make the decision. So it also states further down in the Act and the regulation, rather, that 14 days after the closing of the polls, all signs should be removed. I want to be very clear that this is not my first time asking for political paraphernalia to be removed from the public space. I did so immediately after the election last year. I took steps myself to remove my signs during that period, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same. Some complied fully, some did not. Also, before the election, I remember in about 2016, we were asked by the EOJ whether or not they have jurisdiction on the matter of, well, they don't have any jurisdiction on the matter of advertisement. But from a code of conduct standpoint, we were asked to hold on to our paraphernalia and signs before the announcement of the election, and we could go ahead and mount them after the announcement. That is what we were told by the PO for the EOJ office for our constituency. Now, the RO, the returning officer, sorry. Now, What we are looking at is a situation where the ROPA Act is being brought into question. And the ROPA Act, the amendment was done in about 2015 through a bill through former Minister Philip Paulwell, who was trying to get some level of accountability up pertaining to campaign financing. And during that time, they reclassified campaign period. For us, the campaign period and a pending election are two different things. And it also says in the ROPA Act that you spend the 54 days and 54 months and a day after the closing of the poll after general election, or anyone that comes first. That is what it says, if I recall properly. Now, what is happening in the space? And let me say as well that if they are using the ROPA Act to justify what they're doing, then they are in breach of that as well. Because many of these signs, they were up from last year. What caused the concern? And I heard the General Secretary asking what has changed. Nothing has changed more than the enforcement of the law. Now,
Well, hold on, Mayor. I'm trying to understand something. So, based on ROPA, you're saying that there's 6 months before a pending general election that political parties can in fact install advertisements?
Right, and that was particularly done to deal with the accounting of financing, campaign financing, based on the understanding. So, what would happen then is if you are doing political campaigning during that 6 months period, you are supposed to report everything that was contributed to you during that time. Whilst the TCPA speaks specifically to advertising. So it does not say how you advertise, it does not say the material that is used, you name it. So we have several things that we deem as things of concern where the advertising is concerned. But let me get back to the point that I was making first. So the pending election, which is the date that is the election is announced, between that date and the election day, that is what we are working with, and that is what we have been practicing for a very long time in St. James. I can't speak to the rest of the parishes. And after the election is done, then all signs are to be removed, and that is specific in the Act. They are saying that the lead up to election, which they are now calling the campaign period, is also one and the same, the pending election and the ROPA explanation of the campaign financing reporting period. That they are one and the same, and that is what they are using. But I'm saying that even if they are using that one, these signs have been up from last year, so they would have breached it from that time. But that is not the concern now. The concern now is that they started to increase these signs right across the city of Montego Bay, and to the point where they started to use our revenue board, where we have designated them for ads for the promoters who have their parties, their events. We built them for that purpose, and we realized that they start taking over those spaces, and that is untenable. So that is what caused us to say, you know what, remove them, or we will remove them for you. And we gave a week's notice for them to be removed. Nothing was done. So we started the process. We took them down. So in the Act as well, and we are going back to the TCPA now, it says that if there's injury to the amenity of the locality, or if there is a situation where the corporation deems it unsafe for these things to happen, even though they do not need consent during the pending election, meaning that they don't need consent when the election is announced. Even though they don't need consent, if we deem the signs unsafe, we can issue a notice of discontinuance. That is what it says. And in this case, we are looking at several things. One, you're on our amenity. You're on our area created for the purpose of revenue generation. You're injured our amenity in that regard. Two, at this point in time, people are less facilitating of the election paraphernalia and so forth in their communities. We have received letters to say that, they need these things out of their communities. The ombudsman has called on the politicians for many years to remove these signs. And that, it fell on deaf ears. Now, in this case, because people are less receptive at this point in time, if you put certain signs in certain areas, they can become unsafe because it can start some type of controversy. I've seen, for example, one of the candidates, someone took her sign and she went onto social media to basically demonstrate, to say that she needs a curse sign or else this, that. And you have also seen the words coming from colleague Councillor Thomas, who is threatening basically that if we take, they will take down signs. Now, what you need to understand is that there's a difference between politics and governance. So they're calling on the ombudsman to get involved. I don't believe that it is something that is properly substantiated. You call the ombudsman to deal with the political parties. We're dealing with a matter of governance. We're not dealing with politics. And this has no bearing on politics whatsoever. As I said, this is my second major call.
Mr. Vernon, please hold that point. We're open. Mr. Vernon? Mayor Vernon? Please hold that point. We're open a break, please.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:46.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack, original crispy. Burn Shack, Cajun spicy. Burn Shack, a barbecue. Burn Shack, we are going Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ochivios is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and 28 out west in Montego Bay.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
The future is here. Meet your new best friend, the Samsung Galaxy S25. Unlock your true potential with this powerful but sleek AI companion. The S25 has exciting features such as the enhanced AI and camera. Let's transform the future together. Ask about our trade-in, smart payment, and insurance protection plans. Get yours today at select digital stores, Crossroads, Tropical Plaza, Spanish Town, Downtown, and also available at the SMS store, 12 Ruthven Road, Kingston 10. SMS Group is your gateway to technology.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the cover story. We are talking politics. Earlier this week, opposition PNP called on the mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, to cease and desist from removing the party's advertising boards in the city. The party saying they have the lawful right to put them up, but the mayor argues otherwise. We have with us Mr. Vernon discussing the matter. Mr. Vernon, you gave us a lot to unpack regarding that matter of the signs, and I should point out, my producer is reminding me, that we did extend an invitation to Dr. Dayton Campbell to join us for this discussion, but we were unsuccessful in getting him. But back to the matter, Mr. Vernon. My first real concern is this matter of a pending election, as it says in the Act, the KCPA. Is that a bit of a narrow interpretation to say that it means specifically to the period after the election was called?
Well, not the period after the election was called. So, you mean, okay, I get what you're saying. So,
yes.
Yes. To say that it is narrow?
Yeah, don't you think it could be able to be more broadly applied rather than specifically that the election has been called with nomination day set everything? Could it just mean when there's an anticipation that we're within a certain period of a pending election?
Well, in that case, if we are working with that definition, at what point an election will be pending? It will be immediately after the closing of the polls. All of that period will be pending. Because you can have a snap election, you can have by-elections, you name it. There are gray areas, and that is why it has to be legally interrogated to reach to a proper resolution. But speaking of resolution, I've gone ahead to meet with Minority Leader Councillor Troop. Called him to a meeting, we had a proper discussion. He said that let us agree on the approach with which we treat this matter. He said, okay, he met with his councillors, they came back. By the time they responded, a party release was out from the General Secretary, which created a shift in their feeling and views towards the discussion.
No, but hold on. What was the response, though, from the minority leader based on the discussion with those within his party?
We went to the finance meeting yesterday to have discussion on the matter and to ratify the council's position. And we asked them for their contribution on the discussion. They said that they are not interested to contribute to the discussion. As a matter of fact, one councillor was asked to express his views. He said he's getting his thoughts together. By the time we were supposed to take a vote, the usual thing that they do, that I've seen in Parliament and in other municipalities, they walked out of the meeting. And we say, all right, we're going to vote. They never objected. They just never contributed to the discussion. And to come today, for example, to say that they want to have a discussion, it is really out of order.
So, but hold on. So when you met with Councillor Troop, who is the minority leader, he indicated that he would have discussions with his members and get back to you. He did not get back to you.
He did not. And what Mr. Campbell, what's his name again, Dayton Campbell is not telling us is that they sought some advice pertaining to ECJ, and to the ECJ would express to them that they have no authority over the matter. This is a local government matter.
But from the council's perspective, because you did say earlier that there's a grey area based on ROPA and the own Town and Country Planning Act that you are being guided by, did you have any conversation with the ECJ just to get some clarity as it relates to advertising and the period of advertising?
We wrote to EOJ for their position, but have not yet received a response.
So why then move forward, Mr. Vernon, if you're waiting for the ECJ to respond?
Because it is there, and they really have no jurisdiction over the TCPA.
So why then write to them? Because you indicated earlier that there is a gray area, and you indicated that... No, just let me make the point. And you indicated... No, hold on, Mr. Vernon. You indicated that there is a gray area, yeah? You wrote to the ECJ just to get clarity. Why not wait until you receive the response from them and then make a ruling on the matter?
We wrote to ECJ after we started the process, right? And let me repeat, this is not a political matter. This is a governance matter. And there's a difference. A political matter has to do with parties. A governance matter has to do with the application of the law from a governing authority. Right? So I want to make that clear. And there are political undertones to it, and I can understand why they're coming with it, but it has nothing to do with it, and I am not interested in that. I will tell you that we wrote to JPS about their wires. In terms of the look of it across the city, they look like cobwebs sometimes. JPS said to us that it's not theirs. They would have to trace the third party to get their views and to find out how they did this and how they did it, and ask them to take it down.
So Mr. Vernon,
in that photo, give me a second. In that photo that was circulated on the Observer page, with the sign being taken down, if you look at it properly, in that same police van, there were signs that were not paid for, motor signs that were not paid for, and signs that were expired because the call was not limited to political signs. it says that all illegal signs within the space.
But,
and we were removing them.
But Mr. Vernon, just a few quick follow-ups to what you just said. Did you receive legal advice before proceeding to the action of taking the signs down? And
yeah, we received legal advice.
And that legal advice said that you should proceed and that you were in good order to proceed as such?
In pending, the legal advice is that in pending interpretation is when the election is announced based on the TCPA.
And what about
so
legal advice in terms of the
outside of that
ROPA?
period would be deemed illegal.
But you also said that you could take in consideration the ROPA. What, did you seek legal advice on the extension, including the amendments to ROPA as well?
Right, and the legal advice interpretation is that the ROPA one was specifically to the financing.
Very well. And then secondly, Mayor Vernon, why no? As you said, some of these signs have been up since last year.
I said it. I told you that they are now on a revenue board.
So it's just an escalation of the problem. But why didn't you just nip it in the bud when it first became a problem, an apparent problem?
All right, so we saw one, and we said, all right. Then two, okay. Then the entire space started to flood with signs until they reached onward spaces. And we were saying, no, this can't continue. And remember, we did not take them down. We asked them to remove them. And they refused. So what you want me to do?
And to be clear, Mayor Vernon,
the type of
I'm sorry.
application that the council considers where the law is concerned for vendors is the same for the persons who are utilizing these areas for signs. The same kind of consideration that is given to persons who are promoters, the same kind of consideration will be given to the political operatives. So it is no different. No different. We're just enforcing what is there, and it is non-political. I can tell you that.
And to be clear
last year we removed the JLP signs for councillors. They were called, and if you look at the call last year, the exact words, my colleagues, they are both JLP and PNP, and within a year, a second call was made because of the multiplicity of signs extending across the city of Montego Bay. It's not the time for it. Just wait. I spoke with the aspirant, one of them, and I said, just wait until the election. You want to flood Montego Bay with political signs? No. Why? And the reason it seems political is because the new ones that are going up are mostly associated with the PNP. It's not that they are in a better position to print and post signs than the JLP candidates or aspirants. It is not. So why isn't the case that both parties are putting signs and flooding the city with signs?
What's the going forward, Mayor? Is it that you're going to try and meet back with your counterpart in the council, PNP counterpart?
No, I'm going to meet with them. I'm not sure if I'm going to meet with the minority leader because they are demonstrating some level of, I'm not sure what it is. But if you can sit with me in a meeting and then come to a meeting and do something different, then I don't need to have that discussion with you. Then I need to take it to, I guess, the direct person, so we can have a conversation and work out a solution. Because
that's Dr. Dayton Campbell you're speaking of when you say the direct person.
No,
who are you speaking of?
No, come on, no. I'm talking about the persons in Montego Bay. My jurisdiction is the city of Montego Bay and the municipality of St. James.
No, man, but I'm talking about but in all of this, let's be real. There's a political undertone. The elections are close. Montego Bay is a hot area. St. James, I should say.
So started that conversation.
No. I hear you. So I'm asking you from that side of things. Are you going to reach out to whomever within the PNP to have discussions to see how you can cool tempers in that area?
So the call for the signs to be removed. No letter was sent to my office. So I'm not going to respond to him directly through the media. And I'm not going to call him because he went into the media and sent out a release through this PNP machinery. I will call the candidate here in Montego Bay and we have a discussion and come to an amicable solution.
That is Richard Vernon. He is the mayor of Montego Bay. Thank you for joining us, Mayor Vernon.
You're welcome.
The headlines are next, listeners.
Cover story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
That hour was brought to you by the new KFC Saucy Wings. Hot and spicy wings tossed in mango habanero or buffalo sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger licking good.
To CliffViews Online on April 16 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast the groundbreaking ceremony for the Raintree Commercial Development. Raintree Commercial Complex aligns with UDC's goal of developing urban spaces. On 108 acres at Block 1, it will offer commercial and light industrial opportunities, creating 2,000 short-term and 5,000 long-term jobs, benefiting the Caymanas community. So tune in to CliffViews Online on April 16 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for this groundbreaking activity. It's the groundbreaking ceremony for the Raintree Commercial Development. Also catch the live stream on Nationwide's YouTube channel at Nationwide Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6:01.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Nationwide News understands that the former Director of Corruption Prosecution at the Integrity Commission, Keisha Prince Kamika, was not told why she would not be offered a new contract with the entity. Prince Kamika's contract expired at the end of March. Sources at the Commission tell our news center that the treatment of Prince Kamika was disappointing, to say the least. Those sources speculated that she may have paid the price for her decision to not bring charges against the Prime Minister in two matters at the Commission. Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Richard Vernon, says the removal of political campaign materials across the city will continue until the next general election is formally declared.
In an effort to maintain the aesthetic appeal of our city and to preserve the amenity and safety of our municipality, the council has moved to prohibit the erection of political signs across the municipality until the next general election is officially announced. This decision is in keeping with the Town and Country Planning Control of Advertisements Regulation 1978. This is my second major call within a year. In fact, the Gleaner story posted on Saturday, March 30, 2024, titled "Mobe Mayor Urges Swift Removal of Election Paraphernalia," is in keeping with the council's position now. We look forward to the cooperation of both political parties.
Councillor Richard Vernon, Mayor of Montego Bay. The comment follows calls from the opposition PNP to cease and desist from removing the party's advertising boards in the city. PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell says the removal of the campaign material was against the law.
Under the Town and Country Planning Regulations, political advertisement related to elections are exempt from needing municipal approval. This is in the law, so why is the mayor acting outside of it? We're calling on the mayor to cease his unlawful actions, return the campaign materials, and issue a public apology. We have also referred the matter to the Electoral Commission Political Ombudsman Department for urgent attention.
Dayton Campbell, General Secretary of the PNP. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says $50 million will be invested this year to further operations at Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited. He made the announcement at the Outsource Jamaica 2025 conference in Montego Bay, St. James on Thursday.
Since 2016, under a 30-year concession agreement with the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, and over $400 million of investment with advanced geopositioning technology, new cranes, and upgraded infrastructure. We have increased cargo volumes in our ports by over 50%. We have increased employment by over 53%. And in 2025, an additional $50 million will be invested to further expand the equipment and capacity of the port.
He also highlighted that the long spoken of Cayman as a special economic zone will finally become a reality under his administration. According to the Prime Minister, groundbreaking for the 700-acre site is scheduled for the first quarter of the upcoming fiscal year.
I'm pleased to say that we have now completed the engineering designs for the special economic zone. The tender process for the first phase of the land preparation is finalized, and all required approvals are in place. Groundbreaking is scheduled for the first quarter of this fiscal year. So I would say that in another 2 months, we should be able to break ground on the site. The site is being prepared to mitigate against climate change risks such as flooding, and will be equipped with modern infrastructure, utilities. We're also going to create a direct link from the site to the port itself.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Commanding Officer of the Hanover Police Division, Superintendent Andrew Nish, says the 4 murders recorded in the parish since the start of the year are gang-related. As at April 5, Hanover recorded 4 murders compared to 10 for the corresponding period last year. Superintendent Nish says 3 of the 4 homicides occurred in the Green Island policing area.
The most recent incident took place in the Orange Bay area on March 27, 2025. In response to this surge in violent crimes, we have intensified our operational activities under Operation Secure Future, a strategic initiative targeting active violent gangs and their members within the space. Intelligence suggests that the recent act of violence are linked to the Schemas gang. As a result, a joint police-military team conducted an operation in the Orange Bay community.
Superintendent Nish says Operation Secure Future yielded significant results in the Orange Bay community on Wednesday.
The seizure of a Bersa Thunder 9mm pistol loaded with 2 9mm rounds, a Diamondback 5.56 rifle loaded with 17 5.56 rounds, several overseas debit cards, and 70 lead sheets with information of persons living overseas. The Hanover Division remained resolute in our commitment in dismantling violent criminal networks and ensuring the safety and security of our communities. We will not relent in our efforts to pursue and bring to justice those who threaten public safety and public order.
Superintendent Andrew Nish, a commanding officer of the Hanover Police Division. The St. Mary Police seized over 1,000 rounds of assorted ammunition on Thursday. The seizure was made during a targeted operation in Devon Pen, Castleton. Commanding officer for the division, DSP Anthony Wallace, provided the update with our news center.
On Thursday, April 10th, between the hours of 7:50 a.m. and 12:30 p.m., acting on intelligence, a team of police officers executed a targeted operation in the Castleton police area in St. Mary, which led to the seizure of over 1,000 rounds of assorted ammunition and several firearm parts. The discovery was made in an abandoned 4-bedroom house in the Devon Pen area, where the items were concealed in bags. This is a significant breakthrough in our ongoing fight against illegal weapons in the parish. We continue to urge residents to share information by calling the Portmore Police at 876-333-9530 or 876-994-4222 or Crime Stop at 311.
DSP Anthony Wallace, commanding officer for the St. Mary Police Division. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Plug Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
What makes a Burrito Bond so attractive?
We have a history of strong financial performance and growth, demonstrating resilience.
Our leverage remains low relative to our peers.
The bond is available in both Jamaican and US dollars, ranging from tenures between 2 to 10 years at attractive interest rates. Plus, it's expected to be listed, which will enhance liquidity for all investors.
Burrito Bonds are Burrito strong. Download our prospectus, call a Burrito advisor, and invest today.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alex Raby. We ball things off with some cricket as Jamaica Scorpions reached 206 for 5 in their second innings at Stumps on day 2 of their 7th round regional 4-day game against the combined campuses and colleges at the Sir Frank Royal Ground in Trinidad. Javel Glenn made 86, Captain John Campbell 33 and Brad Barnes 30. The CCC were bowled out for 327 in their first innings. Shakiri Paris made 112, which include 11 fours and 2 sixes, while Johan Jeremiah made 69 and Larry Edwards 44. Abhijan Singh took 5 wickets with Pete Salman and Barnes taking 2 each. Scores in the match so far: Jamaica Scorpions 133 and 206 for 5, combined campuses and colleges 327. At Queen's Park Oval in Port of Spain, champions Guyana RP Eagles reached 269 for 5 at Stumps against Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. Raymond Perez made 82 and Kevlon Anderson 51. The Red Force were bowled out for a first innings 240. Jade Gooley made 58, Cephas Cooper 50 and Carrie Pierre 38. Neil Smith picked up 4 for 49, while Kimo Paul took 3 wickets and Ronaldo Ali Mohammed 2. Over at Coolidge Cricket Ground, the West Indies Academy beat Windward Islands Volcanoes by 10 wickets. Set 35 to win, the Academy men reached the target inside 4 overs. Akeem August was unbeaten on 33 and Justin Jegasar 2 not out. Earlier, the Volcanoes were bowled out for 181 in their second innings. Kimani Meleus made 40 and Captain Alec Athanes 41. Final scores: Windward Islands Volcanoes 106 and 181. West Indies Academy 253 and 35 without loss. Now to footballers. Former champion Mount Pleasant beat Racing United 2-1 in their rescheduled Ray and Neville Jamaica Premier League match at the Jacksall Complex. An own goal in the 6th minute gave Mount Pleasant the lead. However, forward Ronaldo Biggs scored in the 27th minute to restore parity. Forward Raheem Edwards then scored in the 43rd minute to restore Mount Pleasant 1 goal advantage. The win helped Mount Pleasant restore their 9 points lead. Now to basketball, as Los Angeles Clippers shooting guard Norman Powell will be wearing the black, gold and green when Jamaica competes in the FIBA World Cup 2027 America's pre-qualifiers from August 8 to 10. Powell, who won an NBA title with the Toronto Raptors, made the announcement on social media.
I want to say how super excited I am to be joining Team Jamaica. I've been working with Coach Turner for a long time and with this process and getting it done, and now it's a reality. So I'm super excited to be joining the team. I know there's a lot of work ahead, but you got a player that knows the grind, that understands the grind, and is ready to put that work in. So we need all of your help to make that a reality.
Norman Powell. Jamaica will face Costa Rica, Chile, Ecuador, Mexico, Paraguay, and the U.S. Virgin Islands in the pre-qualifier tournament. President of the Jamaica Basketball Association, Paulton Gordon, says Powell will anchor the team.
We are elated that he's so passionate about it and wants to see us through the journey of World Cup qualifying and also possibility of Olympics 2028. We're trying to put the pieces around him now so that we have a solid team and a solid management group going forward. We're reaching out to persons now to see who's eligible, who is available, because different players have different cycles based on which team they are going to, if they're preparing for new contracts, etc., etc. So we are going through that process now to see who's available for the August 8 to 10 pre-qualifiers.
Gordon says several other players are interested in representing Jamaica.
We have a slate of NBA players who are interested. The problem is we're kind of pushing back at some of the FIBA rules, which gives us less opportunities and possibilities. But there are people like the Thompson twins who are interested, the Champagne twins who are interested. Nick Richards was born in Jamaica, so there's no eligibility issues there. Someone like, they say, Josh Minot from Timberwolves. He played for under 17 team. So we're trying to clear that situation with FIBA as we speak. So trying to put the slate together, trying to look at who is available, who would like to fit in this part of the puzzle for the qualifiers in August, because after you clear that hurdle in August, there'll be windows of qualification, like the cycle will include windows in November, then next February, and then I think the last window for qualification will be the following November, that's November 2026.
Paulton Gordon. Now to boxing, as president of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, says the decision to establish a $5 million boxing gym is more than an investment. Samuda says the gym will become the stomping ground and a training area for the LA Olympic squad of boxing aspirants and their coaches.
It is really capitalizing a sport and its boxers and coaches with currency beyond the dollar figure. You have to have a space with an elbow room to ply successfully your trade, and that is what the Joey is providing. You have to be a resident where you are the owner and not the tenant subject to eviction, and that is what the Joey is providing. The Joey is continually responding to the call of our member associations as they pursue Olympic dreams.
He says the Olympic gym will be home to those who are motivated to make history.
The $5 million represents a serious down payment on the future, the value of boxing. It is not a credit facility, for we do not require installments and we are not charging any interest whatsoever. We do not expect payment in return, for it is a joint enterprise with the Jamaica Boxing Association. The only interest we both have as partners is to ensure an invaluable return on sweat, investment, and guarantees, sure guarantees, for the future of the sport.
Christopher Samuda. Now to table tennis, as York Castle High School stole the show at the ISA JTA Credit Union Rural Table Tennis Finals at GC Foster College on Wednesday. The Brownstown-based team won the Under-19 girls category for the first time as they beat many-time champions Titchfield High 3-2. York Castle Under-16 boys put on a good show as they beat Manchester High 5-0 to also take their first title. Coach of York Castle, Ryan Grizzle, says mastering the techniques contributed to their good showing.
The aim is actually to keep the regular rudiments on the table, focusing on the mechanics of the game as well as helping the players to recognize the importance of focus, as well as not only just focus but emotional and physical aspect of the game. And once they're able to do that, which they have displayed, then it affords them the opportunity to carry out the mandate of winning 2 trophies.
Ryan Grizzle. Now Titchfield retained their Under-19 boys title, beating York Castle 4-1, while St. Hilda's retained their Under-16 girls title by beating Westwood High 3-2. St. Hilda's player Lane Ridley says the challenge they faced in preparing for the tournament made the victory even sweeter.
We worked hard to maintain the champion title and we've come home victorious once again. It was a very hard year because we don't have much time to train, but we still put in the effort that we could and we've come victorious once again. It's a great victory for the school. We're very proud of our athletes and we're happy that we come home with the champion title a second year.
Elaine Ridley. The rural champions will tackle the urban champions in the national championships at GC Foster College on April 16. And finally, in swimming, national swimmer Kahim Loza is continuing his right vein of form, competing at the 4-day Hungarian National Swimming Championships, which started in Hungary yesterday. The former Kaizen Swim Club standout, who is managing his transition into the senior ranks well, is coming off a 1-year World Aquatic Swim Scholarship, which ended August 2024. Loza have been training in Budapest, Hungary with the Vasa Swim Club. He'll compete in the 50 and 100 meters butterfly as well as the 50 and 100 meters freestyle.
I started training 9 weeks ago for this competition. Started in an aerobic phase where we slowly moved into a sprint phase over about 6 weeks. Towards the end of those 6 weeks, I took a 2-week camp in Austria, focusing on technique and race readiness. After that camp, it was mainly technique work the week leading up to competition. I feel mentally prepared and rested for this competition, so I'm hoping that the times will show and I'm able to hopefully qualify for World Championship or just better my times in general.
Kaim Loza. Meanwhile, another former Kaizen swimmer, Keita Campbell, is wrapping up his collegiate season and eyeing the TYR Pro Series coming up at the end of the month. Campbell said this will be his first long course meet coming off the heel of the collegiate short course yards a year. Campbell will measure himself at the TYR Pro and then transition into some high altitude training in the summer. I'm Alex Swiby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Home ownership is such a big deal, you might think it's impossible. Good thing VMBS makes the impossible possible. Get to your down payment faster with iSave for Home. Find the perfect place with our property services team at your side. When you're ready to apply for a VMBS mortgage online or in branch, we can assist. You'll see why the difference between impossible and possible is just 2 letters, VM. Transformation starts here. Visit transform.myvmgroup.com. Let's go.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robeanne Williams. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We want to hear from you, so we ask you to weigh in live in the comments section. Yes? So human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, right, is expressing concern over reports that some police and soldiers have been observed wearing masks and balaclavas while on duty. JFJ Executive Director Michael Jackson says the coverings are making it difficult for civilians to reliably distinguish lawful personnel from potential imposters.
We have received in excess of about 20 complaints from citizens, and we have also made observations ourselves here at JFJ about JDF officers and police officers wearing both masks and balaclavas in public spaces. For example, routine spot check. It is very difficult for you to discern the badges, the numbers, or any other identifiers. In some instances, you may see a parked police vehicle close by, but what we're saying is that is not enough, and you should not have a situation where an officer is out in public conducting their duties and then you're unable to see the badge number or a name for that officer. We have had situations of criminals and other imposters who are dressing like law enforcement officers.
Michael Jackson, Executive Director of JFJ, the group is calling for the leadership of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Defence Force to publicly disclose any protocols concerning the wearing of masks and balaclavas during general public duties, as well as planned or tactical operations. It says where protocols exist, they must be strengthened to mandate visible identifiers and document operational necessity. Ms. Jackson also notes that the coverings are preventing citizens from reporting incidents of misconduct involving JCF or JDF personnel. So in public opinion this evening, we're asking you, the people, do you support members of the security forces wearing face coverings during interactions with the public? That's the public opinion question. Do you support members of the security forces wearing face coverings during interactions with the public? I'll start with the comments on Facebook, where George Elliott here is saying, police and soldiers are not invincible humans and, like the rest of us, have families who want to see them return home safely and not expose their identity to the murderous gunmen and criminals. All right, let me see if I can get in this one. Salome Paul is saying, doing regular duties like spot checks, then no wearing of mask. However, going on targeted raids looking for criminals, yes, because these ruthless gang members, once they identify you, they will target you and your family members. JJ Max says, I do support the police in wearing their masks. Since Wellington says, not one. If they can wear masks, they can wear body cams. And he's asking, we Blake no one we see. All right. Philip Jackson is saying, first of all, what is their reason? If it is to disguise them from being identified where it is a need, then no. But if the reason is to enhance what they do or for safety, so be it. Maxine's best believe it's a very thin line, Philip Jackson. That reason. Maxine Soleil Riley saying, in specific adverse circumstances and missions or operations, I think they should wear masks in order to conceal their identity. As it relates to the usual routine interaction and interfacing with the public, they should not wear such. Shins for Life Law says, as an expert with many years' experience in this area, that's definitely not appropriate for the public. For specific and special operations, definitely acceptable. And I believe this is what JFJ is saying. I am not going to be a mouthpiece for JFJ, but they did say the fact that identifiers are not visible. You know, visible identifiers are not being, they're not there. And this is why they're calling for public, the JCF, the JDF, to publicly disclose any protocols concerning the wearing of masks and balaclavas. Fabian Smith says no, but if that's so, the public should be able to see their name or badge number clearly. Frassout says, knowing how these criminals operate, I have no problem. Remember, police have their family to protect. Winston says, yes, I do. Natalie Winter is saying, it definitely depends on the situation. If it's a covert operation and protection of politicians and their family members. Cleon Spence says, load the man them with them mask, them lucky. Okay. Raquel Angie Douglas saying that she supports the police but not the face coverings. All right, got you. The public opinion question, do you support face coverings during interactions, the face coverings rather, of members of the security forces during interactions with the public? Chris Duncan is saying the mask is worn for security reasons. Enough said. Jesus is... The T is saying, JFJ quite fine. The pandemic soon start and everyone's face will be covered. We move. Jamar saying, for special operations, yes, but for routine traffic stops and things of a similar nature, no. Yuri is saying, yes, they need to conceal their identity. Some of them young and don't own a private firearm. I think, yeah. And don't own a personal firearm and jumping on the same bus and taxis with the criminals. Okay. Skinny Fair says, when they come mask up and kill someone in their so-called confrontation, how will we be able to identify the shooter? Step Dariva is saying, only criminals and their supporters have a problem. Whoever see when SWAT on operation. And I think, but they're not necessarily talking about the operation aspect of it. But all right, Official J is saying this is a tough question. I care about my safety and also theirs because this country, cruel. Do what you must, yeah, man. Okay. And York Rich is saying the masks are permitted, but body cameras are questionable transparency at its best. All right. Skinny Pharaoh saying, no, I don't support it. We must be able to identify and distinguish the security forces from the criminals. Boss Lady says, yes, nothing not wrong with it. Yeah. Let me go on our YouTube platform. Do you support members of the security forces wearing face coverings during interactions with the public? All right, let's see what's happening on our YouTube page. Blessed Child says the security forces should never put their fingers in. Okay, wow, Blessed Child. No. All right. Yeah, let's see. Monica Archer is saying, I support the police. Yes. Okay. Alvin Bernard says, yes, yes, yes. Samuel Gale saying, that's not good police for look like police, bad man. Oh, you're saying police for look like police and police not for look like bad man. You're saying a bad man thing that. Let me see if I can get in a few more of the comments coming in. I have no problem with the mask, but show your badge number, says Josephine. And I think that's what is being said here by JFJ in many instances. As I say, I'm not a spokesperson or anything, but based on the explanation given, they're saying that in instances, the badge numbers, the identifiers, not visible. You can't say who do this, who do what, where do what, and all kind of and Kofat. Alvin Bernard says, yes, yes, yes. Marlon Tingling says, no problem. Wilbert Davis is saying, if the masks are a part of the police issue, by all means, I support it. Yes, for me. Christopher Bowen says, JFJ need to tell their... Okay. All right. And listen, just... Okay. Police is always wrong for JFJ. All right. Protect yourself, officer. Please do. Clance is saying, yes, no problem. Marlene is saying, I think some people don't understand the question or they choose not to. I think so too, Marlene. We're on the same page here. Beverly Samuda saying, if they unmasked, you will still not know them. Gunman can dress like police, but that's not necessarily the issue what we're saying. Yeah. Arlene Rowe, but that's exactly what you're doing. You can agree to disagree with me, my dear. It's your opinion, and this is indeed the court of public opinion, yeah? So you can agree to disagree with me. Christopher Bowen says, yes, read it. Read what? Police wearing masks to secure their life, says Maxine. Scorpion is saying, yes, mask, but why no? Simply because the police doing so well with crime. Marjorie G is saying, we stand with the JCF because gunmen wear masks too. Yeah. Marjorie G is saying, I agree with the mask. The police see better through the mask, says Dean Breezer. Yeah. Sharon Bless says, looking into the police garb, I think it's about protecting themselves. It volatile out there. Indeed. Masks on crime down, says Tony. Stand big up yourself. Sharon Bless, I did read it. I read it. Looking into the police. Yeah, I read it, man, Sharon. A lot of comments coming in on this one. Trying to scroll through them. Yeah. Edgar is saying, I have never seen a police without a viable badge number. Well, I've seen it, Edgar. I've seen it. And at times the scarves, they're in the balaclavas, in the mask, in the scarves, have on glasses, and nothing can be seen. Neron says no mask on the street, and that's the question. We're not talking about targeted operation or going after criminals. They are referring to interactions with the public, so that was the question. So maybe it wasn't necessarily clear. Devon White is saying, I once was threatened by a police officer if I was wearing a beret. when I was a teenager, I want to see our policemen or women to wear badge numbers and show their faces. Stronglink says, when cops are on dangerous special operations, yes, wear masks. Under the normal operations, no. Samuel Gale says, when them do anything that's wrong, how you identify them? Because too many criminal in... Okay, wow. Mr. Peart says, mask or not, the police force scares me. Baby Toy say, I stand with the police. Yeah? St. Elizabeth family, big up yourself. That's all the time we have for Public Opinion. Do stay tuned. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34. Good evening and welcome to Public Opinion. That should be good evening and welcome to the Business Report. Yes, VM Investments Limited, VMIL, has officially listed its recent bond offering on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, JSE. Now, the listing ceremony took place today at the offices of the Jamaica Stock Exchange in Kingston. The bond, originally set to raise $5.34 billion, saw exceptional demand from the investing public, resulting in an oversubscription of approximately $1.2 billion. Speaking during the listing ceremony, Assistant Vice President for Capital Markets, Dwight Jackson, shared that the successful bond raise is not only a vote of confidence from investors, but a catalyst for the next chapter of growth at VMIL. The VMIL bond offer opened on December 19, 2024, and was extended past its initial closing date of December 27, 2024, due to strong demand from the market. It closed on January 10, 2025. In the U.S. now, OpenAI is suing Elon Musk over claims he has tried non-stop to slow down its business for his own benefit. The company accuses the Tesla boss of using bad faith tactics against OpenAI to help him control cutting-edge AI technology. Mr. Musk sued OpenAI chief executive Sam Altman last year in a bid to stop him from changing its corporate structure. Mr. Musk co-funded OpenAI with Mr. Altman, but left several years ago. The countersuit opens up a new front in the high-stakes battle between two Silicon Valley heavyweights. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 158 Jamaican dollars and 77 cents to buy $1, 204 Jamaican dollars and 54 cents to buy £1 and 111 Jamaican dollars and 55 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. Have yourselves a wonderful evening.
Jamaica! Get your tickets now for Arise 2025, the music celebration, and join the gathering with the Hoppers, Gospel Proclaimers, Rhoda Isabella, Carrie Sales, and others at the National Arena, Easter Sunday, April 20 at 5 p.m. Group of 15, 6,000 per person. General, 6,500 and VIP, 9,500. Available at Source of Light Music Mart, SpurOpen.com/Arise 2025. Bring the family as we celebrate with the Hoppers. One awesome evening.
Maxfield Bakery, breads and buns and Maxfield Bakery for breads and buns and bullets too. It's Maxfield Bakery for the best Easter bun, you know that's
Maxfield Easter bun, the juicy fruity Easter bun. Order online and send abroad at maxfieldbakery.com or call Maxfield Bakery at 926-2160 or 929-3897 and get yours before they're done. Skiata says so.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, meet a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, Nationwide this morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide at 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. It's 6:40 and it is time for the nation's business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Well, there's another potential legal battle regarding the proposed parish of Portmore that could be brewing. Well, attorney representing the PNP King's Counsel Michael Hilton is sounding the alarm over a recent letter sent by the Houses of Parliament calling for the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, the ECJ, to appear before its Constituency Boundaries Committee next Wednesday.
The ECJ has also been requested to submit a report no later than the end of May. The concerns are outlined in letters sent to Attorney General Dr. Derek McCoy and Clerk to the Houses of Parliament Ms. Colleen Lowe. Mr. Hilton argues the request is improper and risks compromising the law and the independence of the ECJ.
Well, Siobhan Campbell tells us more in this report.
We'll get to that in a minute, listeners, but we're having a few issues there. But you know, Sanjay, I'm amazed about this matter regarding the Portmore Parish boundary. There seems to be every step of the way, there seems to be some issue concerning it. And I can understand the concerns around it from the part of the opposition, but I also understand that there is a willingness on the part of the people of Portmore that they do want there to be their parish to be the 15th parish, and they're willing to get through that process as well. So let us hear now from that report. In a letter to the Clerk of the Houses of Parliament, Colleen Lowe, dated April 8, Mr. Hilton references a letter sent on her behalf to Chairman of the ECJ, Earl Jarrett, regarding the boundaries of the proposed parish of Portmore. That letter, dated April 4, asks the ECJ to attend a meeting of the Constituency Boundaries Committee of Parliament on April 16, provide an update at that meeting, and then provide a report by May 31, 2025. Mr. Hilton says the letter sent on behalf of Ms. Lowe goes beyond what had been decided by the committee during its deliberations on April 1. For reference, here are the instructions as outlined by Speaker of the House and Chairman of the committee, Juliet Holness.
We are forwarding the ruling of the court. That's what we're forwarding. We're forwarding a copy of what would have been attached to the Act and the Act from Parliament. We are forwarding a copy that is a little clearer in terms of color of the exact document. And the only thing I've added to what I've been reiterating is but to ask that time be considered, and it is not languishing forever, that they return to us by the 31st of May with an indication with where they are, what is the final.
With an update.
With an update. On or before the 31st. So we're just setting a timeline to say, look, by the 31st of May, they would have come back to us at the very latest.
Mr. Hilton says it would also be improper for the committee to purport to impose on the ECJ a deadline by which it should complete its work. The King's Counsel says the ECJ should not depart from its established processes in order to facilitate the government's timeline. A similar letter was sent to Attorney General Dr. Derek McCoy, also dated April 8. Dr. McCoy is advising the committee on the Portmore matter. Casey Hilton says the letter to the ECJ suggests that the committee is considering embarking upon, or has purported to embark upon, a constituency boundary amendment exercise. He says that Section 67 of the Constitution provides in relevant part that the committee shall submit reports not less than 4 nor more than 6 years from the date of the submission of its last report. Mr. Hilton says he's been instructed that the committee issued a report in January 2018. He says it would seem to him that 6 years having passed, it cannot now issue a further report. Casey Hilton says he would appreciate receiving the Attorney General's urgent comments. Last month, the Supreme Court lifted a temporary injunction which had blocked the government from proceeding with the move to turn Portmore into the country's 15th parish. It also accepted the government's position that the transition would only come into operation after the completion of the procedure outlined in Section 67 of the Constitution regarding the constituency boundaries. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News. And listeners, we have those letters from Casey Hilton with us, and we're going to go through them after these messages. Stay with us.
This time signal is sponsored by Janet Global Accreditation, an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. The time is now.
It's 6:45.
Jamaica! Get your tickets now for Arise 2025, the music celebration, and join the gathering with the Hoppers, Gospel Proclaimers, Rhoda Isabella, Carrie Sales, and others at the National Arena, Easter Sunday, April 20 at 5 p.m. Group of 15, 6,000 per person. General 6,500 and VIP 9,500. Available at Source of Light Music Mart, SpurOpen.com/Arise 2025. Bring the family as we celebrate with the Hoppers. One awesome evening.
So, welcome back, listeners. As usual, we had that little report there before concerning Michael Hilton and the Opposition People's National Party's concerns over the process now being undertaken by the Constituency Boundaries Committee for the establishment of the Portmore Parish. And we have with us these letters that were sent out by Mr. Hilton to the Attorney General, Dr. Derek McCoy, and the Clerk to the Houses of Parliament, Colleen Lowe. Part of that attachment is also the letter from Ms. Colleen Lowe's office to Earl Jarrett, the Chairman of the Electoral Commission, that is dated April 4. Mr. Hilton attached this as part of his correspondence with Colleen Lowe and the Attorney General. It says, "Dear Mr. Jarrett, following the recent meeting, the Constituency Boundaries Committee asks that the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, ECJ, consider the documents listed below regarding the establishment of the city municipality of Portmore as the 15th parish of Jamaica. Those documents are the Counties and Parishes Amendment Act 2025, the Portmore LSDP Administrative Boundary, and Portmore and Environ, St. Catherine, Jamaica. A copy of the Supreme Court's formal order on the establishment of the city municipality of Portmore as the 15th parish of Jamaica will be forwarded to you once received. Kindly make efforts to obtain this ruling at your earliest convenience." It says, "We request that you submit a report on this matter by May 31, 2025, along with 8 hard copies."
And it continues where it says, "Additionally, you or the representatives of the ECJ are being invited to attend a meeting on Wednesday, April 16, 2025 at 10 a.m. At this meeting, the Commission is expected to provide updates on its progress regarding the referenced matter and its preparations for the upcoming elections due later this year." And it says, if there are any other documents to be used at this meeting, they're saying that it should be submitted by Friday, April 11, and that's signed on behalf of the Clerk of the Court of the Houses of Parliament, by Brandon Nash.
Yes, and attached along with that letter is the various things stated, such as the Counties and Parishes Amendment Acts 2025 and the other documents, listeners. And if you listen to what the Speaker of the House said regarding what she was going to outline in that request, do you believe, based on the interpretation of this letter, that there was some other untoward addition to the letter based on the Speaker's statement, Sanjay?
I don't get it at all. I think the issue probably, the only thing is the date, because I think the Speaker had indicated the end of
May.
Was it May? Right. That's the only difference. But she did say on or before May.
Yes, she did give that quite clear instruction. So
Yes.
I'm wondering if Mr. Hilton's concern is just the simple fact that an instruction was given that, please, we would like to get this matter sorted out as quickly as is tenable. And as a result of that suggestion that they should submit a report to the Constituencies Boundaries Committee by May 30, that is the bone of contention, because according to Mr. Hilton, he does not like the idea of that committee, of the ECJ essentially being given a deadline. And in his letter to Ms. Colleen Lowe, he says as much. That letter is dated April 8, 2025, and it says, Dear Clerk, re the Constituency Boundaries Committee, I represent the members of the Caption Committee who were nominated by the Leader of the Opposition. I have seen the letter dated April 4, 2025, written on your behalf to the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, the ECJ. The letter refers to the meeting of the committee on April 1, 2025, but my instructions indicate that the letter does not accurately reflect the decisions made at that meeting. The committee merely decided to send the relevant documents to the ECJ and ask it to provide an update on their work by May 31, 2025.
But you see, in this letter, the Speaker of the House did say on or before May 31, 2025, and I think that is important to highlight. Anyways, the letter continues to say, instead, your letter asks the ECJ to attend a meeting on May 16, 2025, provide an update at the meeting, and then provide a report by May 31, 2025. In our view, it is quite improper for the letter to go beyond what the committee agreed. In any event, it would also be improper for the committee to purport to impose on the ECJ a deadline by which it should complete its work. The ECJ should not depart from its established processes in order to facilitate the government's timeline. And he says, in addition to potentially compromising the thoroughness of the methodology the ECJ adopts, doing so would also have the potential of destroying the independence of the ECJ, both in appearance and in fact. And it is signed by Michael Hilton. You know, Siobhan, I would think that the members of the ECJ, and I'm not think, but I know that those individuals are professionals. And if they're of the belief that they need more time for anything that they have to do, I think that they're quite competent and capable to say to the committee that, look, you have given us the 31st of May. That is not enough time to complete our work. We request a longer time. And nothing is wrong with the request to attend a meeting on April 16, is a progress meeting, and then provide that report on May 31. I'm confused as to what is the issue by Michael Hilton and those he represents in sending this letter to the clerk of the House, because I'm not seeing they're departing from anything that was proposed at that committee meeting chaired by Juliet Holness.
And it should be noted that the letter also says that that would not be the sole issue of that constituency boundaries meeting, but also for the ECJ to provide an update in terms of its readiness for general elections, which I think is well within order, considering that we are expecting general elections to be called any day now, to be held sometime this year. So I wonder, Sanjay, and I alluded to it earlier, if this is just not another attempt to run down the clock, so to speak, because there is a fear on the part of the opposition that they don't want this matter of the Portmore Parish and the boundaries being adjusted ahead of general elections. I wonder if it's just an attempt to run down the clock and to see how far we can just keep this matter out of the public ear and out of being completed before general elections.
But before you move on, Siobhan, again, I think it is very important because Michael Hilton, in that letter to the clerk, says that her letter does not accurately reflect the decisions made at the meeting. The decision of the meeting was that a report should be provided on or before May 31, 2025. The ECJ...
Before, if my technical operator could come, he's not there right now. He had to power for a second, but once he gets back, I want him to play back that clip from Juliet Holness because I believe it's quite clear what she said in that is that she's saying that yes, we would like them to be done by May 31, but she left it open to say we would like them to come back to us before that, if at all possible.
Right.
I think she made that quite clear in that clip, but I'd like the technical operator to just play that back for us so that we can see that, not the rap, just that clip of Juliet Holness saying as to what the instructions were to the clerk to deliver to the ECJ chairman.
Are forwarding the ruling of the court. That's what we're forwarding. We're forwarding a copy of what would have been attached to the act and the act from Parliament. We are forwarding a copy that is a little clearer in terms of color of the exact document. And the only thing I've added to what I've been reiterating is but to ask that time be considered and it is not languishing forever, that they return to us by the 31st of May with an indication with where they are, what is the final.
With an update.
With an update. On or before the 31st. So we're just setting a timeline to say, look, by the 31st of May, they would have come back to us at the very latest.
So there you go. You have Juliet Holness saying that she's calling for an update, a report is essentially what she means, by May 31st regarding their views on this matter of the Portmore boundaries. And I don't think that is out of order. I'm sure if the ECJ required more time to do so, they would appear before the committee and say as such, as you said, Sanjay. But that is not the only bone of contention. Apparently, Mr. Hilton also wrote to the Attorney General on the same day, that being April 8th, and he makes reference to that claim that was brought by Portmore Mayor Leon Thomas, that is SU 25CV00904 and others versus the Attorney General on the Constituency Boundaries Committee. And that letter says, Dear Attorney General, as you may be aware, I am one of the counsel representing the claimants in the captioned claim. I note from recent media reports that you are personally advising the captioned committee. I have also seen a letter dated April 4, 2025 from the Clerk of the Houses of Parliament to the Chairman of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. A copy of the letter is attached for ease of reference. This letter suggests that the committee is considering embarking upon or has purported to embark upon a constituency boundary amendment exercise.
You are, of course, he says, aware that Section 67(6)(b) of the Constitution provides in relevant part that the committee shall submit reports not less than 4 nor more than 6 years from the date of the submission of its last report. I am instructed that the committee issued a report in January of 2018. It would seem to me that 6 years having passed, it cannot now issue a further report. I would appreciate receiving your urgent comments. And he closed by saying, I've also attached my letter of today's date to the clerk, which speaks for itself, and invite your comments on those issues as well. And it is signed by Michael Hilton and the Electoral Commission of Jamaica clans. It says they're also copied on the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, they're copied, and also his clans are copied on that letter.
And it should be noted, by the way, Sanjay, the Attorney General made a rare appearance. He was at that April 1 meeting of the Constituency Boundaries Committee. So you would imagine that had he had an issue with what was outlined by the committee and by the Speaker and the Chairman of the Constituency Boundary Committee, Juliet Holness, he would have voiced that concern. And I don't believe he did so. So I found it so strange, this further concern raised by Mr. Hilton regarding the last meeting of the committee being in 2018 and suggestion that it could not proceed with its work because that period would elapsed of being no less than 4 years and no more than 6 having passed.
Siobhan, I just want to go back to the previous letter written to the clerk of the House. The only thing that is different from what the speaker indicated is the invitation
for the April 16
to the ECJ to attend the April 16 meeting. And I don't see anything wrong with that because they're attending the meeting, as you indicated, to discuss other matters too. And at that meeting, the chairman of the committee may very well ask if they're on track to producing that report for May 31. And they could indicate at that meeting that the May 31 deadline may not be sufficient. Or they could say, yes, we will complete the report in time for May 31. That's the only thing that is different in the conversation that was had at the committee meeting and what was placed in the letter.
To me, and this is my personal opinion, Sandy, it seems like to me these avenues of legal fencing are essentially just let's do whatever, hell or high water, whatever it takes. This Portmore issue will not go forward, and we will take whatever legal track or avenue to essentially stop that from happening. That is my interpretation.
Yeah, I can come to that conclusion also. Let us face it, this Portmore matter is highly political, because what is going to happen is there will be changes of the boundaries, and some individuals, depending on the constituency, they will lose votes, and some other individuals will gain votes. Yeah, it's just the reality of it. And as we all know, when you have an election, it is important that you have enough supporters on that voters list so you can cross that line. It all comes down to the numbers. Yeah.
Precisely. But I doubt this is going to be the last we hear of it. As I said, this could essentially trigger another legal challenge going forward, depending on, I suggest, how the Attorney General responds to Casey Hilton's concerns. So I doubt, listeners and viewers, if this will be the last that we hear of this matter in this newscast. But we take a break and we come back, and again, it hasn't even been a few days, and we have to talk about this matter of the tariff war between the US and China.
Get the inside scoop. Tune in to Budget Bites, a brief breakdown of the 2025 budget presentation by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. It's an informative snapshot of the budget and what it means for you. Don't miss Budget Bites, bite-sized insights into the Prime Minister's vision for Jamaica. Budget Bites, unpacking the budget for you.
Let me give a fair and balanced characterization of the historical development of the Jamaican economy. The PNP, through bad policy decisions, created the second debt crisis. They created the first one as well. The JLP took the first fundamental steps to address the problem. The PNP contributed and built on those steps, and the JLP further built on those steps and completed the reforms. While we acknowledge the work of the PNP in the national effort across administration, any political credit they should get for contributing to the solution is totally wiped out, because they are the ones whose bad policy caused the problem in the first place. To their true bipolar nature, the PNP wants to claim paternity after causing the mother, the people, so much hardship. In their last budget presentation, the leader of the opposition and the opposition spokesman on finance disingenuously accused the government of increasing taxes on the people of Jamaica. In the last budget presentation, the leader of the opposition said, since the JLP government came into office, they have more than doubled the annual tax take, increasing it by a massive $190,000 per person. Yet, in his recent budget presentation this year, the leader of the opposition and the opposition spokesman on finance both claim that the improved performance of tax revenue is due to the tax reform work of the PNP. So we need to ask ourselves, is it the PNP that is responsible for Jamaicans paying more taxes? In the 2023 budget, the leader of the opposition complained that the government was moving too fast to reduce debt. He advocated that we abandon the fiscal responsible path, use $40 billion, in other words, go and party with the rent money, money that we're supposed to use for debt repayment to spend on temporary relief. In this budget, when he sees the amazing benefit of reducing the debt to 68% and the amazing fiscal space that is created for us to actually now sustainably deal with the relief effort, he now comes claiming that the reduction in debt is due to the PNP's faithfulness to fiscal prudence. This reminds me of the classic tale of what we in Jamaica sometimes regretfully call Butler's father, who caused the mother so much pain and then abandons the child. But when the child grows up to be successful, out of the blue they turn up to claim paternity and associate with success. This leader of the opposition is a man of convenience, flip-flopping between prudence and popularity when it suits him. 1 minute he disowns the child of fiscal discipline, and then the next he claims the child of fiscal discipline. The mother remembers the pain of FinSAC and the high interest rate policy, the largest transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich, and she knows that she cannot trust this worthless man. So the DNA test was done. The DNA test was done. The results are in. When it comes to 15-year-old fiscal discipline, PNP, you are not the father. Yes, your name call, but it is another Golding that is the father. Jokes aside, this is the first time our debt to GDP ratio is below pre-FinSAC levels of the mid-1990s. It has therefore taken us 30 years to undo the damage of the self-inflicted blow of the PNP's economic mismanagement of the 90s. 30 years! Jamaica today has the strongest economy since our independence. We are not going back to the failed policies of the PNP.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Whether you buy it, build it, or improve it, it's time to home it with the National Housing Trust. Join us as we follow the journey of one couple and their friends towards a more secure future for their families. Home It is brought to you by the NHT, the key to your home.
What I say, man? But there.
Bless up.
Warm, sir. Draw the chair there. You know that already?
Yeah, man. Steam fish and stout for you.
Boy, me I tell you, a woman in my taxi and she don't know where she a go. But me must know. Don't want to have me a ring around the roses all morning. Come on.
You're lucky. I'm supposed to pick up a full load from a man this morning for the dump. All the way up already, you know. When me reach, him not dead there. All me see are two big pit bullets steering on my morning.
Well, if you ask me, none of you have no problem. See a man with real problem over there, sir. Who? Carl? Same one. One thing now. Them no be able to Maya.
First thing this morning, him have to run go rent truck to take off him things off the roadside.
Some landlord never give him notice. Yeah, but you don't know how that go, man. He was looking at a place, but the notice run out. See it there? That wouldn't happen if he just set up himself to get him on a place. You are going like you don't know what the thing said. When you forget that kind of money? NHT.
What? NHT turn bank now?
Nah, bro. But me and Shani see check it out to see what them have that could help you get a house. Me never know say when you make contributions, you can get certain loan to build or buy a house. Based on how much money you make. Lee, you same one always talk about how you want to fix up and build up on the place where your mother live. And you know do nothing towards it, but I wait to win lottery. I no lie. You could have reached at least halfway by now. After just 2 years of contributing as self-employed, you can get a loan.
Me don't want a house at town. I want to go a country go live. And them nah build a scheme where I want to go. We have a decent piece of land at St. Mary. It have everything. Fruit tree, grown provision. It even have a piece of view there.
Steam fish and a stove. Yeah, give thanks. What we are say? Yeah, you're not bound to buy an NHT scheme house, you know. You can get that money towards building your own land. So long as you is a contributor.
Boy, I there check out some construction thing the other day, you know. Trust me, the building plan alone cost a bag. Then you have to get surveyor report and all them things there.
I think there's an option where if you've been contributing, you can use some refund something to put towards those costs, you know. Let me take Shanice and ask her.
Refund? Them a give back money? For real?
Yeah, man. Me get a refund when me da work with Mr. Mac, you know.
Away I say?
But me really never gone NHT since me I work for myself, you know.
Alright, see it here. She say, you really due to get back a refund 7 years after you pay the contributions. But you can get it back before the time to help you pay off some of the upfront costs if you're going to build or buy a house.
That sound good. So where I say, me have to register to get all of them benefit there?
Yeah, man. You have to register and make your contributions.
Then not that are the thing, man.
My wife is a contributor through her workplace, you know.
All the better. Like me and Shanice.
Look like me have to go give up this bachelor lifestyle.
Me like the little reasoning, you know. Because when you check it out, the rent we have pay for them chaka place could have pay off for own place in the long run.
And you don't have the embarrassment of a man to throw out your things on the sidewalk.
For real.
Yeah, man. Well, last man in pay the bill. Akeem, I hear that.
Hold on. I know so the rule work. It's last man out.
I hear that too.
Hey. Brother, yeah, man.
If you are self-employed, start your home ownership journey by becoming a registered taxpayer, which will include making quarterly contributions to the NHT. Visit nht.gov.jm to find out more. Yes, you can home it with NHT and get the key to your home.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose fittings and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the Hose and Tool Boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Welcome back, listeners. We are now into the third and final hour, and we're talking about U.S.-China trade wars again. The trade war between the U.S. and China is deepening, with the White House confirming that its tariff rate against Beijing is now 145%. Washington says an existing 20% levy will be added on top of the 125% announced on Wednesday.
Beijing earlier announced an 84% tariff on U.S. goods entering the country. Elsewhere, the EU put tariffs against the U.S. on hold after Trump paused tariff hikes against Europe for 90 days. Meanwhile, U.S. stocks have fallen after earlier gains in the European and Asian markets.
The Dow Jones and S&P 500 indices are down over 4%, and the Nasdaq has been has lost as much as 5%. Warner Brothers Discovery has seen a fall of 14%, and Amazon and Apple are both down 7%. More in this report from CBS News.
And this morning, the European Union responded to President Trump's shocking tariff U-turn, as you could describe it. You're looking at what the EU president had to say on social media, effectively saying that the bloc will pause retaliatory tariffs for 90 days. So a bit of a wait-and-see moment there. CBS News foreign correspondent Remi Inocencio brings us more of the latest from London. Remi, great to see you. We spoke earlier this morning on the CBS Morning News about how there is a domino effect to all of these decisions, but help us understand the EU's position in saying, well, they were going to wait to respond, as they said yesterday, and now they're waiting. They're going to also pause their 90-day response to what the U.S. was doing. Break that down for us.
Sure. Well, tit-for-tat tariffs, now tit-for-tat pauses here. And we know that markets, at least, like the news when it came out earlier today. Right now, the FTSE 100 is up by about 3.5%. The DAX in Germany and the CAC 40 are up by more than 4%, almost 5%. These are the lows of the day, though. But we did see a jump in the markets, in these indices across Europe as they were trading when Ursula von der Leyen posted, as you just posted online on the screen just now, about that EU pause. And we're looking ahead to see what will happen next. She said if negotiations are not satisfactory, then those countermeasures will kick in. And remember, those are roughly 25% tariffs on about $23 billion of U.S. exports to the EU. And also remember, they voted on that just yesterday. 26 of the 27 nations of the EU voted for it, except for Hungary. Viktor Orban not really playing along with the EU on many matters. Incoming German Chancellor Friedrich Merz credited Trump's pause on the EU's retaliations. But basically, EU now saying giving negotiations a chance, but keeping all options on the table. Right now, as it stands, Errol, there is still that baseline Trump tariff of 10% on all imports. That is versus the original Trump tariffs of 20%. So right now, markets, investors, and governments are at least taking that at least a little bit happier.
And I'm curious about the China component of this, Remi, because despite the rallies that we saw in the US and globally yesterday and today, you got these tariffs on China which have increased. And businesses, as we've mentioned, they've got a plan for the long term. So what is the latest on the China component?
Yeah, absolutely. Chinese markets did rise, and we might have expected them to fall with that mind-boggling 125% slap of tariffs on the Chinese markets. But taking a look here, well, for one, you can see the Nikkei and the Kospi, the biggest risers overnight. The Nikkei up by 9%, the Kospi up by nearly 7%, major exporters around the world and to the United States. But if we go and flip up the boards, then we can also take a look at what's happening on Chinese markets. There you are. For example, the Shanghai Composite, 1.3%, 2% for the Hang Seng in Hong Kong. Not as much as the Nikkei and the Kospi, but the rise here on these China markets at least represents some faith and some optimism that China can hold its own against Washington. We already know, we've been reporting that they've been making the currency weaker, the Chinese yuan weaker, and that makes exports going overseas cheaper relative to other currencies like the United States, the US dollar, the British pound. They can also subsidize companies, and they can send money into the stock markets to keep them up. So that's why we see some of this, at least a little bit of positivity on Chinese markets in the overnight trading.
Yeah, and it helps us understand how these decisions impact millions of people around the world. Remi Inocencio reporting from London. Remi, thank you for that.
So there you have it, listeners. This matter of the tariff war between the United States and its major trading partners not going away anytime soon. And you know, Sanjay, it's a strange thing to see because in an environment where businesses thrive on certainty and they set their schedule sometimes months, if not years in advance, I don't know how you navigate a situation where you can essentially send a container of goods by ship to arrive in the United States 4 months at a certain tariff rate, only to hear between a week into that journey, another week into that journey, a month into that journey, the tariff rate has changed. I don't know if that fosters a healthy business environment.
Certainly not. Certainly not. And I think that many of the businesses that, especially those companies that do direct trade between China, for example, and the United States, it's a great issue for them. Because how is it that they're going to plan, as you indicated? Pricing also is important. So look at what Apple had to do. They had to ensure that they had enough of their supplies within the US before the new tariff came into effect, at least to maintain prices for their customers and at least give them some time to decide how they're going to maneuver the changes that are ahead. And it's very difficult because this day you hear it's 10%, another day you hear another percent. How can companies really plan?
And I'm assuming the strategy on the White House's part is to bring China to the negotiation table. But I think there is a miscalculation there on the part of the president because he forgets that his colleagues in the House have to face the people in another year or so. The Xi Jinping and his Communist Party does not have any such concern. And as that report pointed out, they have largesse, let me use that term, in terms of the amount of money they can pump into their economy and subsidize their businesses and keep their stock exchanges stable. The US does not necessarily have that benefit. And I don't know if the calculation on Trump's part is going to work out in the long run. We hope cooler heads prevail on both sides, in both the US and China, because China now represents, I think, 5% of the world economy, which it sounds insignificant, but that's actually trillions of dollars. And it does not do the world good to have these two superpowers at each other's throats on matters of trade.
And what is very clear, Siobhan, is that China, they are going to fight. They're fighting to the end. And remember what the Chinese Foreign Affairs Minister indicated. The Foreign Affairs Minister said, we Chinese are not troublemakers, but we will not flinch when trouble comes our way. And they're serious about that.
And it is the benefit of having, I'm not trying to knock the Chinese, but it's the benefit of having a near totalitarian regime where you dictate to the populace, not the other way around. The US president, for all his bluster and all his courting of strong men, he should realize that he does not have that same leverage as Xi Jinping over in Beijing. He has to face his own people in the United States, and his Congress will soon turn on him if they feel that his trade wings are not leading in the direction that they will help retain the houses of Congress. He needs to keep that in his calculation. So I don't know how long he can keep this constant retaliatory escalation up and up and up.
Yeah, but on the flip side, let's look at China, because I hear you as it relates to China. But one of the things that we also have to recognize is that China's economy has already been growing at a slower pace than when Trump first took office. So that is very important to highlight. And I was reading where one analyst indicated that the tariff hike put forward by Donald Trump could reduce China's economic growth, their growth rate to just 4% in 2025. But I still believe, as you indicated, because of the regime of China, they can dictate to their people and they can use that advantage to fight to the very end. The United States, on the flip side, which operates as a democracy, they're not so lucky at all. But Siobhan, the Trump factor in the US. So even though all of this is happening, Trump has a very large support. And regardless of what is happening, his supporters will come to say, look, we believe in Donald Trump. We see what he's trying to do. And as Donald Trump is saying, you have to fight and you have to fight to the end. And that may push the Republicans over that line that they need. Yeah,
and that's
could work the other way.
That's a good point, Sanjay, because I keep looking at the opinion polls and the polls coming from the United States over the course of this trade. I don't want to call it a war quite yet. I don't know if we've reached that point, but this trade escalation, and yes, opinions have soured somewhat in terms of the Republicans as a result of the damage to the markets done so far. But when you actually compare the Republicans' favorability and the president's favorability to that of the Democrats, the Democrats are underwater. It seems even when they're not the ones leading the chaos, the fact that they seem to have almost no response and no ability essentially to try and change the direction of things has soured them even more in the eyes of the public as being essentially toothless and worthless at this point.
It's a thing with the Democrats in the United States for a very long time, because they are always of the belief that you take it and have a gentleman's approach to most things. And in politics, sometimes it's a blood sport. And if you are remaining quiet, many of the electorates looking on will say you are weak. And no one wants to elect anyone that is weak, or a party that is weak. And that is the reality facing the Democrats. And for a very long time, the question has been, where is the Democratic Party going? Yeah. And how is it that they can inspire individuals to support the party? The Republicans are very clear. Many of them, they do not support the policies of Donald Trump at face value. However, they will not come to the public and say that they are supporting him, because they recognize that
he is the party
Donald
at
Trump,
this point. It is his party.
Yes, it's his party, and they are falling in line. Yeah, because they realize that, look, Donald Trump will get the support, and he is getting the support.
Well, listeners, I doubt this will be the last we hear about the tariff situation. I fear that I'll wake up tomorrow to hear that it's reached 200% or something like that.
But Siobhan, you said something which is very important, because China's premier did indicate that, look, we're fully capable of hedging against any external influences. So that is, in a sense, supporting the point that you made, that China is saying we are going to fight to the end, regardless of what, and we have the resources to really mop up any problems that we're having in terms of financial loss. We can support it and deal with the problems that we're experiencing from those outside of China.
I mean, I know the listeners are eager to get their calls in, and we should wrap up, but you bringing that up, Sanjay, reminds me that the president of Singapore recently made a speech about this matter of the tariff trade escalation, and he pointed out that realistically, yes, China benefits from uneven policies and other benefits that they've had over the years when they moved from less than 1% of the world's economy to more than 5% of it, and that there are legitimate reasons why China needs to face some pressure and some renegotiations of their trade policies. But he rightfully points out that's why we have the World Trade Organization. That is the proper arena in which something like this should be discussed. But the US president has moved from the bilateral and multilateral, and it has just essentially been a rule by veto and unilateral action in hopes that this will bring about the change that he needs. And well, we'll see how things go in the coming days and weeks, and to see if his bet works in his favor in the long run or it backfires. But we can't be the ones to judge that. At the end of the day, it will be the US people, the Americans, who decide whether the President Trump's long game is worth the effort. But we now take a break, listeners, and your long-awaited calls, 630-9371-4 and 618-825 are the numbers. Come chat with us.
This is a public advisory. On Sunday, April 13, 2025, the Mayor's Parlor will start at 12:30 and end at 6 p.m. We do apologize for any inconvenience caused.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton, weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads Podcast. It's a revolution in media.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, nationwide this morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide at 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to Nationwide at 5. It's 7:29, and we're taking your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. And a viewer corrected me. I didn't realize I said it. I guess we're talking about president this, president that. It is the Prime Minister of Singapore, not the President of Singapore, who made those concerns raised regarding Trump's tariffs. That is Lawrence Wong, I believe, the Prime Minister of Singapore, not the President. My apologies. We have Michael on the line. Good evening.
Hi, sir. How are you this evening, sir?
Doing quite well.
Yeah, but me there listening, man. I describe the world, you know, what's going on in the world.
That's what we are putting it, yes.
Yeah, man. A psycho, man. Me like to know how you control the thing, man. You just have the thing underneath good control, man. You can understand you when you make your movements, you know.
Are you keeping on top of what is happening, Michael?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The nationwide, let me know what's going on, man.
Happy to hear that. Good.
So, how is Daddy Cliff you?
Cliff is doing all right. I don't know. I'm sure others have mentioned it on the program. I understand he is out ill for a while, but he will be back next week, Tuesday, as I understand it.
All right, so we wish him a speedy recovery.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. But what you know, you bring up the thing when me bring up the coffee business, you know, but you work on it, man. Yeah.
Mm.
You work on it, man, cause
you got updates on it?
Only if one come in now after now with reasoning about it, you know.
So they have been discussing with the coffee farmers as it relates to the pricing, and I know you had discussed the pricing as the major issue, the money that they're receiving.
Yeah, well, up to now, them come with $1,000, but it not make sense. $1,000 can't do nothing towards farming.
But
right now, them start the crop at $8,000. When it cap reach up around 3/4, so you would say 1/3 or 2/3, them come up to $10,000 at the end of the crop. Now them come with an next $1,000. It can't work, man. And the thing what I want you to do for me, you know, 'cause I don't want to tell you so well that anyone like Mavis Bank factory or anyone at the factory, you check how much a pound of Blue Mountain coffee, man.
But you have to understand also, you know, in the production, and I'm not discrediting the farmers because the farmers are very important, but in producing the coffee, you have to look at all the different things involved and the marketing that is there, what they have to do to produce and ship them overseas. So the cost, not only the farmers, but there are other things involved in the cost, Michael, to put that final product on the market.
Yeah, but the amount them get it can do that, and we get a reasonable money. When you check a box of casino, when it done process, you get £8. And if you check any one of those factory, you can get a pound for less than say $9,000. And you say 8 nines are 72.
Well, you see, Michael, as indicated, is a conversation that has to continue with the farmers and those who are the actual producers, the final product of the coffee, to see how best, the farmers can continue to be supported and get a fair amount for what they're producing, and also the producers making a profit, because again, they're in business to make a profit.
Yeah, but look here. You see, the coffee business here, you have some woman, Mr. Pernell Charles Jr., we have a meeting, a UTEC. And everything from the coffee woman, them turn it over into use, the trash itself. The music makes show up and all different kind of things, man. So, not there to waste. And plus, coming into the 2000, the amount of coffee up in the Blue Mountain here. Then I talk politics. 27, the big rich man them run out of it and the small man then keep in. 2011 it come up and move from $3,000. Then you drop it down to from $3,000 down to something like them drop it 20. It was going to $3,000 and then drop it down to $1,500. Roger Clark come in and take it from the $1,500 and carry up to $14,000, $15,000. And since these three ministers of agriculture come, we're not getting nothing for the coffee, sir.
Well, as I indicated, Michael, is a discussion that has to be continued. The points on both sides are valid, and from our standpoint, we will continue to try and get as much information as we can. But we want to take some more callers.
We hear you, Michael. We're not going to leave you twisting in the wind, but we hear you.
All right, Michael, thank you.
Christopher, good evening.
Siobhan, always passionate about his coffee.
I understand that. It's quite clear. Christopher, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Christopher.
Siobhan?
Yes, hearing you. Go ahead.
Good evening. 2 quick points.
Yes.
I hear, and I was in your chat about this police balaclava and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the name of this lady, but I remember she lectured me, a group of us, in 2010 at the police staff college, a former police officer I am. And she said, you know what? She used to be one of the advocates for, like, before Jamaica for Justice. I don't remember what's her name, but she was a Rastafarian. And it was until, I think, a family member of her was shot that she realized how deep the criminality runs. I don't know, somebody can remind me. But
I know he is talking in her name, just not getting to me right now. I'm going to check it.
Not getting to me. Another that earlier spokesman today would say, as a boy of my age, almost 62, not so shabby, I forget her name.
Is it Flo O'Connor? Flo O'Connor.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes, just came back to me.
Until Flo O'Connor, I think a family member was shot of her. And when she lectured us in 2010, just around the time they were going for Dudus, she said, you know what the problem is with police? You let the public have their side of the story and you are not telling your side. And we never go public. We always just ignore the public, what they put out there. And they said sometimes perception beats reality. And we would never put out ourselves and tell what happened when we are out there. Now, sometime, I remember going on a raid one morning. And when we went to a particular location out between Trelawney Center and Border, this guy that we were looking for, in call out to me and said, come here, police, come. I'm going to look for, come over here, so here for me live. Because none of us knew where we were going.
Yes.
Right out of rape, the guy. So sometimes you have a police might come from a particular local, and he has knowledge of the place, but he can't go there with him hand like my one where him broke and they would have see the bruise where me cut. Then say, I see one boy and see hand there. So then come target me and my family. You understand? So sometimes it might be necessary for the balaclava. The number as well, you might have to disguise it as well. Because once you have a number, this license plate is always on this motor car. So if you see it, you're going to know it was Mr. Brown motor car. So you might say, yes, the number. You understand me? But I just say that for what it's worth. I was writing in the chat, Robbie, I never read my message. She stopped halfway. But just tell the guys, I want to tell them, do not shoot at the police. The police get more far and superior training now than when I joined 1987. They are real guys who know how to shoot. They look at the rear side, the front side, and they are going to get their target. These guys have some gun, and sometimes when you hear them bust them gun when I used to be in Trenchtown, you would have believed 10 somebody dead. Sometimes one man get a little scrape. They are not the point they're going at the police. I don't want to say that to my friends at Jamaica for Justice. Let us encourage them. Right. Next point. I'm going to run because I know Papa Nana probably won't come on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, next point I want to make. I heard this morning when I joined, what's his name there? That's the team for Cliffwood. And I really just listened to your program. And when I joined, like 15 after 10, it was the first break. And when I hear them boast about them bus out of St. Thomas, the JUTC, I said, God of grace, I wonder when it going to come down at St. Ann and go around a Trelawney. Because when you see the bus them rock sometime with the Westwood Pitney them and the St. Hilda's and the York Castle Pitney them, they said, Jesus, can this be responsible? You understand? I beg Prime Minister to extend it. And I beg the people of Jamaica to give the Prime Minister Holness another chance. It can't be worse than this. And last point I'm making to you, I forget his name. He's a Friday morning man, but he was talking about the IC, the one that's sitting for Cliff. He was talking about the Tyrone. IC commissioner, and he made the point that Justice Panton was not so good. And I really want to applaud him because sometimes even as police, you go to court and you believe you are a criminal. As a matter of fact, it was Mr. KD Knight who tell police you must call the criminal Mr. Brown, Mr. John Brown. You can't say John Brown, don't ball out no John Brown. Just around the time when I believe a certain superintendent got boxed from somebody out at the airport there. You can't be shouting out people's name like that. You understand me? So sometimes as the judge them behave like a little God unto themselves. And that's also why Mr. Seymour Panton say him not drinking the water and him not going to, and he disrespected the parliament. I beg God to give Mr. Holness one more term. If
all right,
at least
all
one
the
more
best.
term.
All right, thank you for the call.
Thank you.
Michael. Hello, Michael? Not hearing Michael there, Bugs. It's an interesting matter regarding what is going on over the Integrity Commission to date, and it does not paint a very good picture, Sanjay. These soundings coming from the Integrity Commission does not paint a good picture at all. And I would hope that the Integrity Commission, under its new chairman, gets the matter well in hand before long, because this issue of the Director of Corruption Prosecution simply just being dismissed out of hand and not being provided a reason as to why that dismissal is being put forward and why she's being told, no, you're not allowed to, we highly suggest that you do not reapply.
And they're not standing
very
on
disconcerting.
And not standing on the principles that they should promote, and that of integrity.
Cleveland, good evening.
Yes, how are you doing, sir?
Doing all right.
Good. How are you?
Sanjay.
Yes.
Tell me something, Michael. Michael will call the radio station 24/7 and talk about the coffee. Why don't he try and look his own market and see if he will get what he's asking for?
Well, he's listening Cleveland, so maybe, Michael, you hear the advice from Cleveland.
It's a time for him to understand.
I mean, I don't know anything about coffee, but I know that the value of Jamaican coffee, as much as it is still a luxury brand, it doesn't carry the same level of weight as it used to, considering competition has opened up across the world.
That's right.
And
right.
I think there's a simple rule about business, and I realize, so this might sound hurtful, but if the cost of doing business has risen to the point that you can no longer be in business, it seems that you're in an unsustainable market and you should exit it. And the coffee price can only be set based on the requirements for market by the market. And it is unreasonable to expect at this point in the country's development for the government to further subsidize that in some way. And I see where promises are being made about how we're going to get you X amount for your coffee and that. I think that's such a ludicrous thing to say.
It's not possible.
Telling them that it won't happen. It won't happen.
Not with the level of competition that we have now within the market. And look, individuals are quite willing to switch if they're of the belief that, look, your product is too expensive. And it's a reality that is before us, and we cannot price ourselves out of the market.
I listen to Mr. Grant, and to me, I don't hear him saying you can't get those prices for coffee. What they're asking about, because even the man, the councillor in St. Thomas, they well know it's impossible for them to get them price the way they're looking for at this time. Yes. When coffee was start out, when Japan come and take over the system, Japan them look like they have enough pack up of them country.
And that's one of our main markets.
Jamaica anymore.
And it should be reminded, listeners, that the current economic climate we're in is not one of a massive resurgence. Thanks to recent issues, we are going into a very, very difficult period of time.
Yes.
And during such difficult times, what people tend to cut are luxuries.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, Blue Mountain Coffee is a luxury product.
It's a luxury. You see? So I'm not sure. But the other thing is that this seems like the House of Representatives don't have any power. Based on what I hear, Mr. Hilton and others, them start dictating to the clerk and the House of Representatives. They don't have no power.
I make note of Mr. Hilton's concerns, but I don't see them. On the face of it, beyond this matter of the report, and I'm interesting to hear back on the Attorney General about this reporting period of the Constituency Boundaries Committee, but the matter regarding what the Speaker instructed, what the committee agreed on unanimously, and what was said in the letter, I don't see the concern. I really don't see the concern.
No, come on. One more thing before I go. I forget what I wanted to talk about. Oh, the water. I live up in St. Andrews, and the water. Man, if I know them, I'll go find out and I'll try and make a mountain out of it. All I would have did that already up here. I don't know, nobody won't able to stand around the water here as them to see all of what is happening.
And that is another matter that really needs some introspection. If the water quality concerns raised by the People's National Party have now been addressed by the NWC and the Ministry of Health to say there is nothing here.
Yes.
Is the PNP suggesting that we should now discredit those two agencies as some kind of politically undermined entity that has no bearing or basis to say that? On what do we build that argument?
They do it in such a way that they really want to put the blame on the government, right? And it's gone so bad that...
Are we suggesting that the people who work at the NWC and work at the Ministry of Health don't drink the same water?
They drink the same
You
water.
think they would willingly say, okay, well, the water is contaminated with fecal matter. Let the Jamaicans drink it. We live in our glass palace up here. We don't need to drink it. We don't need to bathe with it. We don't need to use it at all. Is that the argument that the People's National Party is suggesting? That they use the same facilities as we do. Why would they put themselves in a position where the government is telling them, just ignore that. Ignore the fecal matter. Ignore the bacteria. Just let the Jamaicans die. I don't know if that is what the People's National Party is suggesting is happening here.
Come on, they don't have to gone so bad, sir. No, sir. We can bring them some vote.
At the end of the day, I'm going to place my trust in the competent authority. And in this instance, it's the National Water Commission, and they have spoken on the matter.
Remember, it's not the government you're making that happen to, it's the workers themselves.
And I've always said it, Cleveland, political parties need to be absolutely careful when they're in opposition. Because one day they will become government, and the very agencies that they ridicule when they're in opposition, they now have to work with them.
Yes, and I'm sure if the choosers and the other put them on mechanize about it at all. Right? Not that I'm saying that to cover up this thing, but I think they should allow the Water Commission and the Ministry of Health to deal with it, otherwise don't come and try and make a hell of a mountain out of it.
New commentator J.A. saying, Chevron, how many people do you that still drink tap water? I still drink tap water from time to time.
People still drink tap water, sir. Because them say it nice. People still drink tap water.
But as I said, we've built these institutions over the long period of time. I don't know why we seek now to undermine the advice that said institutions provide in the vain hope of some political expedience to be gained from it.
Buy back water for wash your face, brush your teeth, beard, wash. Come on, man. All right. I'm going to take care of it.
All right. Thank you, Cleveland.
All the best.
Carl, good evening.
Evening, Siobhan. Evening. You know what the question I want to ask tonight? The thief in Kingston and St. Andrew, KSAC.
Carl, just say the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation. You can drop the adverb.
Yeah, if you notice this, they said they can't pay them bill. If so much money been leakage for 13 months. I wonder why they can't pay them bill. The question we want to ask, if when Delroy Williams was there, what if he did leave a balance there for the Water Commission? That's a question I would like to ask as the mayor.
It seems most of the cost is associated with the running of the downtown market. And this, as you rightfully said, this is a matter that I believe the KSAMC and the mayor and the town clerk need to address, because it is not a good look to owe the NWC such a large quantum of money, $151 million, and it seems you're not paying it based on what I've seen. There have been no payments made toward that debt. And I wonder if it's just a matter of they're having difficulties in terms of getting the amount from market fees that the vendors have to pay, or there needs to be some explanation provided as to why this is accruing over such a long period.
Remember what the former caretaker of Central Kingston tell me? A leakage. Now forget that. And if you have leakage in our business, you won't be able to pay your bill. Simple as that. Look at the leakage, though.
What is clear, though, Carl, is that a full report has to be provided, and we have to get answers from the KSAMC, because there's no way you can have a bill that is so great, and as Yvonne indicated, you're making no attempts to pay.
But we asked question about the leakage other day, and we're not getting no answer yet neither. Anyhow, Mr. Hilton, you could have bought a little more, Mr. Hilton. But more is in our parish now. I don't care what he wants to come.
Not quite, Carl. It's not quite. Not quite.
You know, Mr. Hilton just lose a case with the DPP already, you know. You know, he come like he forget that already. Because every case that the PMP decide to take on him and put it in, come like he don't realize when he lose. one big case about 3 months ago.
Mr. Hilton's case is not for sure, Carl,
No, but
and
hold on,
they go to him for a very
Chef,
good reason.
Chef, hold on there, liquor. But Mr. Hilton doesn't seem that it is law in dealing with when he come with certain things. He come with him political.
No, Carl, I wouldn't put it that way. Let me put it this way. He goes to the court with the representation provided by his client, and he can only represent his client as well as his client has requested that they be represented. So if you look at the letter that he wrote, he said, my clients suggest X, Y, and Z.
What did you expect, Chef?
But that's the point. He's not going there saying, well, this is my argument. He's saying, this is the argument put forward by my client, and I am representing that argument as best as I can.
And he's hired by the People's National Party, so he's going to try and see in law.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But that's the reality. He's hired by them, so that he's now utilizing his skills as an attorney.
Hold on, let me just cut you 1 second.
Yes.
Don't him is a part of the People's National Party.
You'd have to ask George or
I don't
for that question. I don't know.
I understand.
I don't know.
I understand you, but anyhow, if we'll come back to the KCC, Kingston and St. Andrew.
All right, Carl. We're taking at least one more call, so.
Okay, no problem.
Go ahead, Carl. Oh dear, did we lose Carl? Oh dear, I think you misinterpreted what I said. No, I wasn't saying that you needed to hang up. I was saying that we want to take another call after. But oh dear, Carl, sorry. We never cut him, Carl, hang up. Sorry, Carl. You misinterpreted what I said. My apologies. I apologize to you, Carl, for that comment, for making it seem like I want you to get off the phone. Well, anyway, Sergeant, as I said, this matter regarding the Portmore boundaries, one way or the other, it is going to become a parish. And one way or the other, the boundaries are going to change. And one way or the other, somebody is going to get hurt politically.
But remember,
I realize it is not something that the People's National Party is interested in hearing, but it is going to happen.
All I will say is, remember we have an election that is due by at the very least, September. Yeah, yes. Could be earlier, but I say least meaning, the provisions within the Constitution and the extension, etc. But let's say September. The aim is to get it done before September so that those changes can happen. And on the other side, the aim is for it to not happen. After September, they can deal with it happening. But the fact is, it's going to happen. It's just when. And I think that is the reason, in my mind, that elements are trying to see how they can delay as much as possible. Politics at play.
And let us be fair now, because if you listen to that constituency boundaries meeting committee, there was some give and take during it, because Mr. Warmington also wanted to provide, as part of that exercise, their set boundaries to be put forward to the ECJ, and the committee chairman said no.
No. Yeah.
So it's not as if the JLP is having it in their own way. I don't know why the People's National Party puts forward that assertion. The JLP is a slave to the process, as are we all, and we should allow the process to go at the speed it needs to go. Let the competent authorities deal with it. And if the ECJ is of the belief that no, May 31 is not enough time to provide a report,
they can speak up.
Exactly. They're not constrained against speaking to the public. Yeah. There's nothing to be hidden from the public in this matter of the Portmore boundaries.
And there's no requirement for the People's National Party to speak on behalf of the ECJ. The ECJ can speak for themselves. Allow them.
As I said, it is an independent commission.
Yes.
But I think people need to understand, when we use the term independent commission, it does not mean it doesn't report to the Parliament. It still reports to the Parliament. It's just that the Parliament does not control its actions, and all the Speaker of the House has requested is that they provide an update and a report. That is all she has requested. And to consider that, or blow it to a proportion to consider it a attack on the independence of the ECJ, just seems a little overblown.
And bear in mind that on the commission you have both political parties having representatives. I am sure if the representatives of the PNP, they are of the belief that the ECJ is being pushed by the government, they will speak up when they have the meeting of the commission. So I'm not sure why it is that belief that anyone is trying to force or push the ECJ to make any decision at all.
But listeners, we're near the end of time, and I'm sure, once again, as with the matter of Trump tariffs, and because it is the season, this is not going to be the last time we end up discussing this topic. It is clearly a very, very potent political football at this point, and it is going to play down to that day when the final day is called for those general elections. I am sure we will be discussing this again. But thanks to our super producer Dana Davey, our technical operator Andrew the Glen Boogs Anderson, all my friends and compatriots in the newsroom led by the capable Cara of Powell, and thank you all in the YouTube chat, news commentator J.A. Rumblings, Michael Clark, Marigold Weber, Mikkel, Dre Views, Barbara Bailey, Little Miss R, Beverly Ricketts, all of you, thank you for joining us. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, wishing for you a wonderful evening.
The Nationwide 90 FM Schoolyard Tour 2025 kicks off April 11, and we're taking the vibes island-wide, straight to your schoolyard.
Some say pull up your pants and put it on your waist and
tune in to the E-Zone from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on April 11 as we broadcast from the lawns of UWI near the Assembly Hall. It's